What is up, everyone? If you are watching this on a replay, this is a live show. I'm going to be interviewing Jake Sloan tonight, and we're going to be talking about FPV drones, probably a lot about the DJI FPV drone since the official announcement is tomorrow. We're going to be talking about other FPV drones like the X-Night 360 here, Tiny Hawks, and regular camera drones and all kinds of fun stuff. I'm going to be drilling Jake a little bit about the GoPro Max because he still hasn't got one as far as I know. If you are watching this live, hello, welcome to the channel. Remember, I always give away some free stickers. Some other shows, I'll give away some other things, like we've given away some FPV drones, beginner kits in the past, as well as I just found an old iPad mini that eventually I will give away when we build this up and we get a few more people joining us. I feel like having like 40 people isn't quite enough to be giving away these giant big prizes yet. Well, today we have 7 because there's like so many people live right now talking about the FPV drone that normally don't go live on Monday nights, but they're live, and that's just how it is. So before we bring in Jake, I want to say hello to everybody that is here already. I see Artco, I see Joe, I see Dan and Jim, and I say Joe yet? Yeah, so I see a few of you, Rick, and a few other people seem to be jumping in. We're going to grow this. As always, we're going to have a few sticker giveaways, and I'm not sure what else. Maybe something else, but we'll see. I don't have anything else planned, but I have a pile of stuff behind me, so we'll see how the chat goes tonight and how many people join us. And you know what? Let's just jump right into this. How's everybody doing in the chat tonight? Anything new? I see some people talking about the new Insta360 camera. I wish I could say that they've sent me one. They haven't, so I don't know what it is, but their little promotional video for it is really cool because usually to get the shot that they did with that promotional video is a pretty expensive camera. That's, I forget what they're called, but they're on like a really long little thing, and it's a little micro camera, and they shove it in the hole. Almost that sounds a little dirty, but yeah. Anyways, welcome everyone so far, and hopefully as this continues, we'll get more people coming in. I think we'll start out a little bit. We'll bring Jake in, and like what I'm trying to do is not just have a guest, but to interview someone on the channel every chance I can on these live shows. And I have a whole list of people that I want to try to have as guests to interview. And the point of the interview is to sort of deep dive a little bit into how they started YouTube, what hurdles they found along the way. When did they go, oh, well, I'm sort of obsessed with this now. Maybe I can turn this into something, and just learn a little bit about their experiences, bounced off with experiences you and I have had if you're doing the journey on YouTube too, because all of us have similar yet different stories that make us sort of obsessed with doing this whole crazy YouTube thing. So let's, some of you know Jake Sloan already. If you don't, he lives in Alaska. He gets beautiful, beautiful drone footage, GoPro footage, action camera footage, regular camera footage, teaches you sort of how to use those cameras. And over the last few months, his channel has blown up, and I'm stoked to have him here with me today. Let's go ahead and bring him in right here. That is Jake Sloan.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Sean.
How you doing, Jake?
I'm doing good. Compare winter notes. How's winter in your neck of the woods?
It's been a very warm winter. We have so little snow compared to normal.
Really? That's interesting. Yeah. We started off with a lot of snow. We were way ahead of what we normally get, and then it promptly just stopped, and we've hardly had any snow since. So it's been kind of weird.
I have grass showing in my yard, and I
usually I don't have any. I don't have any grass.
I mean, there's still snow everywhere, but against the house where the sun beams down, it bounces off the edge of the house and melts a layer. Yeah. Usually that will stay snow through all of winter, but not this time.
Yeah, that's yeah, okay. That's All right.
I mean, the snow resorts pumped out a lot of snow because they make fake snow. So that they're okay. The ski resorts, even though that I'm 4 miles from the resort, has tons more snow. It's really incredible the difference that 4 miles can make.
Yeah, it's wild. There's a place it's 25 miles south of here. About 25 miles south of here. And they always get like 8 times the amount of snow we get. Yeah. And it's just purely, location.
Well, it's like where I'm. Have you ever heard of Steamboat, Colorado?
Yeah. I drove through there once.
Okay, so that's about an hour and a half drive from here. And Steamboat gets dumped on so much more than what we do typically where we're at, we get snowstorms that are anywhere from 2 inches to maybe 8 inches tops, right? That's the average, and then it passes, and maybe we get another one 2 days later that's 2 inches, an inch, then maybe one that's 4 inches. If you go south of us in Colorado, like down to Durango, they'll get like 2 feet at a time, 3 feet even in a storm, and we don't really get those kind of storms. For some reason, I guess because I'm centered in the mountains, they get stuck on the tops and the bottoms.
Oh, it kind of goes around or gets stuck before it gets to you, really.
That's what it seems like. And sometimes Denver will get snowstorms and get dumped on, and we'll get nothing. And Denver's like an hour from me. Just like it's the mountains just block it. Like that big cold front that came in and gave everyone snow down south. That messed Texas all up. It didn't really snow where I was, and it was warmer where I was up at 10,000 feet than it was at Texas at sea level. It was pretty crazy.
Wow. That's great. Yeah, I was watching. We were 30 to 40 degrees warmer than most of the people I know in Texas.
Isn't that insane? And you're in Alaska, right? But you're also pretty close to sea level, aren't you?
Yeah, we're really close to sea level. I mean, we're like 120 feet above sea level here in my house, and we're surrounded by 2 big bodies of water, so that really helps. It keeps us pretty temperate.
That's why I have to have you come up here, because I want to be able to climb stuff and not be out of breath and make it look like I'm in shape when I'm really not.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna die if I come down and visit you. The altitude is gonna kill me.
You'd just be huffing and puffing behind me. It's funny. I'll have friends of mine come up, even from Denver, to go snowboarding. We'll get out of the car and we're walking from the car over to the ski lifts, and I'm talking. I turn around and look, where the hell are they? And they're behind me going. So you just get used to it after a while.
Right. So how high are you? What's your altitude?
My house is around 9,100.
Okay. I was going to guess around 10, but I couldn't remember if you were over 10 or under.
No, Leadville, I think, could be the highest incorporated town, that or Alma in Colorado, at least. And those are around 10,000. So
yeah,
I'm
that's
close.
Pretty high. Get over around 10,000 is pretty dang high to live.
It's high. It makes a big difference even when you're hiking, like coming from 9,100 and you hike up, or you drive up to the base of some of these mountains that start around 10. Like A Basin's a great example. I go there all the time. In the summer one time, I took the chairlift up half of it because it was open, and then had to hike the other half. And as you get closer to 13,000 feet, it just gets harder and harder. You just can't breathe worth a crap.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah, the time.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the times I've actually climbed mountains, like 13, 14, 15,000 foot mountains, 16,000 foot mountains, it's like you get up around 12 and it's okay. You know, it starts getting hard up around 10,000, but 12, once you get above 12, it's like, okay, this is way harder.
Yeah. And, snowboarding is not that bad because you're going downhill, right? I like to think of snowboarding as hiking without having to walk.
Yeah.
You get the chairlift up. That's the hard part. And then you just have fun down. But I was thinking about it the other day, and the amount of square footage, or the amount of miles, or just surface area I've covered on these mountains. There's no way, even after 4 years of living here, if I walked it, I wouldn't have been close to covering so much space on the mountains exploring.
Yeah.
Well, let me before we get into like all the DJI talk and drone talk, let's do a little of your interview, man, because this is something I'm trying to do. I've got like a list of channels that don't even have anything to do with action cameras and drones that I want to eventually get on here, because it's what I really want to do is sort of give the people who watch this sort of something back, like a way, the ones that are starting to go, oh, okay, well, I see it wasn't always easy, or this was hard. Okay, I'm dealing with that too, because a lot of us deal with the same stuff. I've been learning through this on behind the scenes. A lot of bigger creators that have over 100,000, 150,000 subscribers aren't even close to having a chance at doing this as a job. And then I know some that have 20,000, 40,000, and they're killing it. They're making way more money. And it's just the way that you use YouTube. And that's something I've learned a lot this last year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I know there are channels out there that have like 800,000-900,000 subscribers, million subscribers, and they're like barely making it. And I mean, subscribers are one thing, like it's the metric that everybody kind of looks at, but I think it's probably the worst metric to look at and feel like if you're using subscribers to gauge whether or not you're being successful, it's the worst metric to look at.
I
for
agree.
sure.
And here's the problem with that is companies look at subscriber count.
Yep.
These big, massive companies are too stupid to realize, and I hate to say that, I'm going to have companies look at me and go like, oh, fuck that guy. But they don't seem to get it's about views more than it is subscribers. And even past views, it's actually watch time. That's the biggest number that you want if you want to make a living off of YouTube.
Yeah. Watch time and engagement. The more engagement you have on your channel, the better everything is going to be. You know, I mean, watch time is a huge metric of how engaged people are. Comments are big, and I mean, just it's.
No, it's. I mean, it is definitely. There's people I know that are making 10 grand a month off of analytics alone, and they don't even have 50,000 subscribers. It's mind blowing.
Yeah. It is. It is crazy.
Pumping out daily content, and that's important because daily content. Now, if you're getting 5,000 views every video you do, and it's daily, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So
and that adds up. That adds up fast. But man, doing daily content is so hard.
Well, I mean, if that was all you were doing, it's different.
Yeah,
you know, like
that's true.
I know you probably got a day job you're still doing, which we can tap into. That's actually one of my questions on here. We can maybe get into a little Star Wars talk too, and obviously there's some fun stuff I want to talk to about the FPV drone, about DJI. There's some things that I've heard as rumors that I've thought were rumors, but I've now heard another confirmation, which makes me think maybe they're not actually rumors, and it's going to actually happen. So I'm excited about that, and I'll throw you that later to see if you've heard the same things or not. But you know what? Let's go ahead and ask you some of these questions. I just highlighted a few of my favorites that I thought were fitting for you and your channel. So,
are you going to ask me if I do everything in front of a green screen?
No, am I going to ask that? No, because I know you don't. Because I can tell the struggles. I might not be at the same altitude, but I can tell when you're really in actual cold weather and not.
I had somebody comment yesterday that they were like, listen to the way his voice sounds at the beginning of the video and at the end of the video. And I'm like, yeah, it's because I hiked 23 miles. And by the end of the video, I was so tired and so dehydrated, it didn't matter. Like my voice sounded like it was in the gravel. Whereas the beginning is like, that's my normal voice. But
where I'm at, I'll go out and film a video. And by the front of the video, I'm talking like this. And by the end, I can't move my mouth. I'm choking away.
Right.
Because it's so cold, my mouth is frozen.
Yeah, and that's especially a thing right now. Like for both of us in the winter months, it's like you go out to film these things, and you're like trying to formulate the words, but your cheeks are so cold, your mouth just won't work the way it should work, and you're like slurring everything. And it's like, I'm sorry, I'm not drunk or anything. It's just the fact that my face is frozen.
And slurring is the exact perfect way to describe it, because it's exactly that. You can't pronounce, your mouth isn't moving right because your muscles are frozen in your mouth.
Yep.
What did we say? Mosquitoes in Colorado. So where I live, this is interesting too. So Mule says that mosquitoes in Colorado are like jet fighters. So the ones at my level where I live, I don't see mosquitoes. Now, that doesn't mean that mosquitoes don't go in the mountains still higher than where I'm at. They just really don't go out of like the shaded areas at all because it's so dry here that they have to stay in the moist little areas. And that's, I've encountered them when I'm hiking in at like 10,000, even 11,000 feet, 12,000 feet. However, I could step right out of the trees, no mosquitoes, no bugs, nothing. Snakes also don't seem to come up where I'm at, like over 8,000 feet. We won't see rattlers. We won't see anything up here. So I can hike and not have to worry about getting bit by a snake or something.
See, that's nice. And that's why I like going up higher altitudes where you're up above the tree line and stuff is one, I don't have to worry about accidentally surprising a bear and having a bad encounter or, bad day. And then you get away from the bugs. Like you get up there. Plus, you views for days and stuff once you get above the tree line. But it's mostly, a lot of it is about like, I want to get up where I can see around me well and not worry about surprising a large wildlife predator or something else that will kill me.
I've not run into any bear yet when I'm hiking. I have run into fox. I've run into moose. Not too close to moose where I had to worry about it. I actually went on this one trail that was a pretty popular trail once, and it's tourists are all over this trail too. It's a pretty easy one, and just I'd say 100 feet tops away from us was a mama moose and its baby moose. And these tourists were leaving the trail to walk towards it. We were all like, oh, we got to go. Get out of here. Because moose are much more deadly than our bears where we're at. We don't have grizzlies. We have black bear, brown bear, and they're pussies compared to grizzlies and moose.
Yeah, but it's the same up here. Moose are by far more deadly and more aggressive toward people than bears are. Yeah. Bears generally will leave you alone unless you're doing something or you have something they're interested in, but they generally will just kind of leave you alone. Moose will, especially this time of year when they're all hungry and they've kind of been eating bark all winter long and they just hate everything. Like they'll attack anything that moves just for no reason other than they're just pissed off.
Yeah. A grizzly would scare the hell out of me though. The black bears are still pretty big. I mean, compared to us at least.
Right.
But something about a grizzly, man. Just seeing a grizzly, their claws are like, they're huge.
They're huge. They're big.
All right. So let's get into some of these questions. So I think we got enough people here to get into this. I'm going to let you introduce your YouTube channel to everybody, just in case somebody doesn't know who you are. I'm sure everybody does. But if you don't, make sure you go and subscribe to Jake's channel. Hopefully someone can throw it in the chat for me you know what sucks about YouTube? Our chat names should be links that we can click to go to each other's channel.
Right? I've never understood why that isn't a thing.
It seems like it'd be common sense, but I guess a long time ago it was, and they stopped it for some reason. I don't know why they would, but there's plugins that make it so that work, but the average user isn't going to go, whoa, let me throw in a plugin.
Yeah.
But there we go. Exactly. Sunrise Water Media. He's linked you. He's on top of it.
There we go. Awesome. Thanks, Sunrise.
Thank you so much. Okay, so Jake, introduce yourself.
All right. My name is Jake, and I live in Alaska. I'm based in Anchorage, Alaska, so kind of south central. And my day job, which we can talk more about later, is I film, do videos and photos for businesses and whatever who are once promotional video, promotional photos, corporate headshots, stuff like that. And then what I do on YouTube, which is my favorite thing to do, I will take camera gear or drone gear out into Alaska and really test it and try it out and do a review of it and maybe a tutorial on how to use it while I'm out like in the wilderness, in the wild of Alaska. I do that one because I feel like there's a lot of camera channels out there that like they'll sit at a table like this and go, yeah, this is, this is the camera. This is how it works. It's great. It's all like that. I'm like, well, that doesn't tell me anything. Like what happens if you're out in the snow? What happens if you're in the wind? What happens if you're in the rain? And, how's it handle super bright light? And the same thing with drones. Like it's great if you go sit and fly around, but like, I want to know how much the thing can survive.
Yeah, I like to do that. I've been doing that a lot with my Mini too. I don't do it with the more expensive ones, but
right. Yeah. It's the higher the price goes, the harder it gets to be like, yeah, I'm going to go see if this thing can
bigger
make
and it was making a little more money. I would totally do it in a heartbeat, but it's
right.
Not quite enough to throw away that kind of money on a drone.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the Mini 2 when Ed came out and visited. Yeah. You were just mentioning that. So that footage of him flying the FPV over the mountains, and then I took the Mini 2. We didn't realize when we got out of the car, it wasn't really windy. We got up and we were like, oh, crap, it's windy immediately. This wind started coming and you could see the snow blowing over the top of the mountains.
Well, that was the thing I saw in one of Ed's videos. I saw the shot. He's going along the cornice on the ridge line.
He didn't know.
Like, oh, man, that is a big cornice there. Like
it was like the size of a house.
I know, it's huge. And
yeah, he didn't know what a cornice was. I taught him some of these things while he was here. It was great fun.
Nice.
It was interesting.
Yeah, that's what I do on YouTube.
So you can't blame him. He learned how to snowboard. I'm actually making a how to snowboard video because I want to teach him to snowboard. I was like, why don't I record myself teaching you and see if it helps somebody else? So I'm going to try to see if I can make something out of it, and it'd be fun either which way. He succeeded and did really well. So I like to pat myself on the back for that, for teaching him so well.
Oh yeah, no, good job, definitely.
But did you see where I threw the shovel of snow at the Mini 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
was
wasn't
like,
snowing, and I was like, I got to do a snow test. How can I do that? Like, so I just shoveled snow, and it
yeah, it
survived.
worked.
It did. It did. Let me answer a question. Some people are asking me about how my back was because when Ed was here, I took a little spill snowboarding and landed
Yeah.
up. I did a little jump. It was the first time I ever did one of these rail jumps, and you go up in the air, and I was holding the camera, and I probably should have done my first one without holding the camera, and it threw my bounce off, and I landed right on my ass, and didn't think anything of it. By the end of that day, it hurt so bad, though, that evening when Ed and I were going through our footage, it locked up. And I swear I thought I broke my
Oh,
back, and I fell over in the kitchen and couldn't stand up or anything. So I was like, you know what? I've never felt this before. I've had back issues before, but I've never had something lock and make me seize up and fall to the ground. So fuck it. Let's go to the ER and make sure it's not broken. Because we had plans the next 2 days, and whether it was broken or not, I was planning on still bringing it
right.
around to fly. So I just wanted to know how much I could push it if it was broken or not broken. And luckily it is not broken. So I took the whole week off of work and just been chilling, and it's not all the way better, but there's a huge improvement. So that's where I am with that. So
That's good.
hopefully by Friday I'll be snowboarding again. All right.
Yeah.
So after that introduction to Jake's channel there, everybody, I think I can guess, but I'm going to guess. I usually ask, is this your first YouTube channel you ever created? I'm going to guess no. If I'm not mistaken, you had another one that was Star Wars related first.
Yes.
Was
Well,
that
sort
your
of.
first channel?
So yeah, I mean, actually my channel, Jake Sloan, that was my first channel.
Okay.
And originally I was posting like Star Wars stuff, and just the whole reason I started YouTube was to record stuff I was doing with my kids. We would go out and hike around, or just, go hang out on a kayak on a beach for a day or something like that. And so I just make a short video about it. And my original thought was, be cool. They can have memories when they get older. They can look back and see, the stuff we did together when they were little. And the Star Wars stuff started taking over. So I had to move all that to another channel.
That's great.
Star Wars fans they're enthusiastic.
Yeah, it's funny
and very
because
one-track mind about what they like and don't like. So, so I moved all that to another channel.
that is one of the downsides of YouTube to me, is that if you want to grow your subscriber base, not necessarily your viewers, but your subscriber base, you really have to narrow the niche down. Like, because people who search, the difference is the people who search and want to subscribe to you because they're searching for content won't subscribe if you have mixed content. Now, if you have mixed content and someone finds you through browse features, I think you have a better chance of subscribing, because now they're watching you to learn something because they clicked on your thumbnail, not because they searched for it, but because they saw it and they said, well, that looks like something. And then maybe they go to another one. So I think there's a difference, two different ways to grow your channels. One is to push for a quick subscriber base, and the other is just to sort of let it organically grow in a sense.
Yeah, and I remember reading that and hearing about it when I was really started studying about how YouTube worked and like business models behind YouTube and all that. And they were the guy that or the book I was reading, or whatever I was reading at the time, they were talking about that your most valuable traffic as far as long-term community, long-term growth, long-term stuff is from browse and suggested traffic. Search traffic is like the least, because those people do exactly what you said. They search, they're like, oh cool, and then they move on.
And it's funny, I do that all the time. Like if I do
me too.
something, and I hate to say it, but if I'm searching for something and I need to learn something real quick, I search for it, I find it, I skip ahead. I don't even watch the intro. Boom, boom, boom. I'm just skipping quickly to whatever the point is I need, and then I'm done. I rarely click thumbs up. I rarely subscribe. I rarely go to the channel to even see what else they have.
Yeah.
But if I'm bored and I'm sitting around and I'm on YouTube and I have a suggested video, click. There's a good chance I might subscribe. There's a good chance I'll click thumbs up. There's a good chance that I'll watch another one.
Yep, it's true.
Just for those who don't know, I think Jake actually is in the 501st. Am I not mistaken?
Yep, that's right.
something I want to join myself one day. And for those who aren't Star Wars fans, the 501st is sort of a Star Wars club where you get very, very detailed oriented replica costumes and stuff of the movies. It's actually in the new movies too now. They've brought all the new stuff into it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then you can go volunteer. This is the cool part. You can volunteer at like hospitals and other things and events for children to bring joy, or you can just wear the armor out and do some cool stuff on your own too. I'm sure there's more to it than that. And we could probably do an interview. Is that your Darth Vader setup?
That's my costume.
Nice. Dude,
the lightsaber really does look like that because I modified it to be better and brighter.
Let's see it again. Let's see it again. I'm going to make you full channel here.
All right. Let me pull that in. And wait for it. Wait for it. Maybe. Oh, come on. Why? Now it's not going to go. Why is it not? My adapter went bad or something.
I'm loving the chat right now. Everybody's sharing their subscriber count. It looks like you actually have like a glow around it instead of just a light like it normally has.
Right. And it's just because I put NeoPixel LEDs through there. Nice. And there are two strings of them. It's super bright. And so it kind of illuminated everything up.
Did you see what Mule Crusher is saying in the chat there? That everyone always says it's Luke, I am your father, but he actually doesn't say that supposedly.
Right. Yeah, it's like the most misquoted line of Star Wars.
Yeah. But I'd say it myself. I say it all the time. And I know it's not for myself. Is that you right there too?
That's me there, the 4th of July parade a couple years ago.
So to pull off Darth Vader in the 501st, because it is so close to trying to be movie accurate, they actually make you have to be over a certain height to be Darth Vader, don't they?
You do. I mean, you don't have to, but it's because all the parts are, as close to screen accurate as they can be. They're big because the guy who played Darth Vader was huge, and so it really helps to be like 6'4", 6'5", 6'6".
You don't have many guys my height, 5'8", running around as Darth Vader. I'd be the short stormtrooper. I'd be Luke in the stormtrooper costume.
Yeah, not many short Darth Vaders, but there are a few guys who like put tons of lifts in their boots and stuff to try and get extra height. And
one of these days, that is my bucket list, is to get a movie replica, like perfect, awesome stormtrooper outfit. And my goal was to get it, and then eventually, as it wears and gets messed up, turn it into a zombie stormtrooper outfit.
Oh yeah, and they have those because they're what are they, expanded universe, because they were in some comics.
Thanks, Lloyd. I could play Yoda. Yeah, appreciate that. Not that damn short. Come on, Jesus. All right, so let's ask. It's funny because one of the things, and I assume it's going to be a family video as your first video you made for YouTube, because my first ones weren't that, but when I got serious into like YouTube, I actually started because of a trip to Steamboat, and I had all this family footage of us, and it was so boring, and I edited it together into like a 4-minute clip, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. This is fun. And I was like, that was boring. Now it's not. And it just started becoming a thing until I decided to do vlogs, and my first vlog is the worst thing you've ever seen, Jake. You would die laughing. It's so
brother bad. I bet because that's what I started doing too, was like vlogs, family vlogs sort of, and I bet I could give you a run for your money on who's got the worst
first 10 seconds of my video is me sleeping with a fake alarm going off, turning around, 3 different shots, and then I say, oh, I got a lot to do today. Oh, what am I gonna do? And I pack up a drone and I take a bike ride to a park, and I had nothing to do. I fly a drone, ride the bike back, saying, oh, I better order some tattoo supplies, but gotta lose some weight. And that's it. That's my whole vlog.
Oh, wow.
It's horrible.
That's
I got some cool angles. I got some nice angles on the bike, but that's about it.
Hey, I think so my first video, my very first one is like a daily vlog about me going into the recording studio and setting up for a session I had recording somebody who's coming in to start an album, something like that.
Nice. So
if I remember.
you do have guitars hanging. So you do play, or do you record, or do you do a little of both?
I did do a lot of music production and stuff. I was doing. I was a producer and recording engineer for 15 years, and but I still play. I don't do any recording anymore.
Yeah. My guitar has been sitting in a box since I moved up here. I'm
Really?
going on over 4 years since being able to play it.
Dude, when you yeah, it's getting harder and harder to play. I keep looking at my bass guitar over there, and I'm like, I play that maybe once a year, year. But even then, it's like, why do I still have this? I don't really.
I can't get rid of it. I will never get rid of them. I will keep
exactly. It's like, it's mine. It was made the same year I was born. I don't want to get rid of it for that reason.
I have on a hard drive somewhere, I have 60 plus songs, half written. Some of them so close to finished, all originals. Some of them needing quite a bit. Some of them are totally raw tracks that I keep telling myself one day I'm going to at least go through them and make 2 albums out of. And time goes to YouTube instead of to that. Unless I change and make a channel about music, that'd be the only way I have time to finish it. Oh, nice.
And that's the thing. It takes a lot of time.
It does. YouTube is, if you want to make it into something, it is pretty much almost every free minute you have.
Yeah.
Let's see. So you first, how long ago was it when you started your first your video, your first one that you posted on YouTube, you think?
My first video, I think, was 4 years ago, or man, it's hard to say. Cause like you say 4 years, but then last year was basically a non-year. And so it might be 5 or 6 years now. Cause I think I started posting in 2016.
That's about when I started getting more serious about it.
Yeah. My first few videos I posted in 2016.
Yeah. So I started 2008 and I posted videos of just me doing airbrushing. And if I'd known what I know now, I would have stuck with that. I would have.
Right. Yeah, because you would have been on the ground floor of when everything just kind of went crazy.
There was nobody even doing that at that time. It was like speed videos of me teaching how to airbrush skulls and all kinds of stuff, or do zombie makeup. But Jack Wagner is in Dillon right now. Awesome, Jack. You gonna do any mountains while you're here? Let's see. So yeah. So those first 3 questions pretty much were great. Let's go on to this one here.
I'm batting 1,000 so far. I'm getting 100% on my.
I'm gonna give you a grade when we're done. We'll see. It's gonna be A, B, C, D, whatever. F.
Awesome.
F, Jake. In the early days of YouTube, when you first started doing those family vlogs, and this is great because I started that same way too when I got more serious. Were you embarrassed, or your family embarrassed, for you to like set up shots to do the YouTube stuff?
Oh my gosh. It was so hard to do. Like, because, you like walking into some place, you're like, oh, that would be a cool shot. You go over there, you set your camera up, which I think at the time I had a GoPro 4. And, set the camera up and then, okay, everybody go back out the door and let's walk in like we haven't already walked in. And it's so, and then people are looking at you, because that was like, vlogging wasn't a huge thing then, like, especially here, nobody did it. And it was like, just pretend like we're not here. And people be looking at us like, what in the heck are those people doing? It just, it was so hard.
When I first started with the family, I would like pull into a parking lot, get out, set the camera up in the parking space, back up, and then okay, don't get out of your cars yet. I got to get out of the car, move the camera, set it by your door to get out of the car, and then move it inside the car to get the car shot from you inside the car leaving, and then another one of your hands shutting the door. And my family would just be like, God dang, Dad, I just want to go walk over here.
Exactly. My kids would just be like, my daughter perfected the eye roll at that time in her life. She was like 4, 5, and man, every time I'd be like, no, it's gonna be cool. And she'd be like, oh, Dad, come on.
You're right. Yeah, that was the worst. And the drones at that time, when I'd stop and be like, oh wait, we're driving on the side of the road, I need to stop and get a drone shot now. Were not that fast to set up. Like it took a little while.
Yeah.
And that would piss that would piss Gina off so bad. She'd be sitting there, just like, damn it, dude, we've been here like 20 minutes. What are you doing?
Exactly.
So, now that was one of the nice things about these Mavic line drones is they were just fold, gone, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, when
Agility.
the original Mavic Pro came out, because I was originally going to jump on the GoPro drone. I've been waiting for like a portable drone because we've been doing more stuff like hiking and stuff like that because my kids are getting older. And I was super excited about it. I was like, I know DJI is releasing something in the next week or two. I'll just wait and see what they do. And then it was like, oh, heck yes, that's the perfect drone for me.
Exactly. I was actually looking at the GoPro drone also. The only thing I really liked about it at the time was that the gimbal was removable.
Yeah.
Handheld karma stick. I liked Lightbridge, and that was in the Phantom 3 had Lightbridge. And I think the Phantom 4 early models had Lightbridge, and then they switched Phantom 4 to OcuSync later.
Yeah.
Lightbridge was pretty revolutionary as compared to all these other drones were all Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Lightbridge was a total game changer for control and
because
what
I
you could
had
do with it.
Drones and there was a lag, like the Blade Chroma 350 QX3. That one, DJI has now stolen so much stuff from that drone. Like they've done it better, but that drone was so ahead of its time because it could completely collapse. The gimbal and camera would come off and become a handheld, right? It had a screen built in. It looked just like the smart controller.
Right.
There were so many little things about it was modular in the sense that if something broke in it, you could order just a new motor, unplug it from inside because it was a big hollow body, unplug it with some tweezers, feed a new wire in, plug it back in, you're back in the air. If you put the shell, you could buy just a shell and reform everything. It was super easy. And I'm going to skip the interview for just a second. I'm talking about that. That's one of the rumors I've actually been hearing on and off about the new DJI FPV drone. That it is, in a sense, modular like that if an arm breaks, you'll be able to buy a new arm. If this part breaks, you can buy that, and you'll be able to put things together yourself. And I've heard that from a couple people. Another thing today sort of confirmed it a little bit. I'm hoping it's true. I think it's probably just a rumor because looking at how much the DJI Refresh Care is for this new drone, $199 for a year. DJI's planning on making some coin with that, right?
Yeah.
If they're going to do that, I don't see why they would let us as users fix it ourselves. But if they were smart, I think they would, because think of how many arms they're going to sell from this thing.
And to me, I mean, that would be the way they would make just tons more money than $200 a year from people, because people are going to drop $400, $500, $600 on parts over the course of 12 months. Easy.
Yeah, they won't on a lot of people who won't buy the Care Refresh won't even send in. They'll break it and they'll be like, fuck, I'm done with it, whatever. But then there's people who will buy the Care Refresh and maybe they'll send it back, and then the price to fix it will be so much that they'll be like, screw this, or they'll fix it once and that's it. Where if they're selling an arm for $35 or maybe a motor for $55 or whatever, a new body shell for $45, that over time you break one after another, that add up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the regular Joe is going to feel a lot better about spending $35 to $55 for a new part versus hundreds on this Care Refresh stuff.
Oh yeah. And that's what looking at the pictures, it looks like at least it's fairly modular. Like you can see, I mean, it's hard to say, but you can see the screws where the arms attach to the body, and the whole canopy looks like it pops off pretty quick and easy. A couple of screws on that.
It looks like that rumor has merit. I'm not going to say it's for sure. We'll find out in the morning, because I think if that it is, that they'll push it right off the bat. I'm fingers crossed, because that's, if you can just do what I did with that old drone, take an arm off, unplug it, plug it back in, screw it back in, done. I'd rather spend the extra, instead of saying on a regular FPV drone where I might spend less and I have to solder and do all this stuff, and I spend maybe $50 less. That $50 is way worth my time to not have to solder and pull out all my crap, have all the extra stuff. Not that I don't already have it, but I hate soldering now. After many, many years of soldering for a living, I hate it. Like, it's almost like I would ask you, you said you do your day job is videography for companies. I would imagine just like Ed, when Ed was up here, he does videography for a day job. And he's been so burnt out on making YouTube videos because when he's done all day working, doing videos, he doesn't want to do videos anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's for me, I guess, and I don't know, I think Ed and I are running kind of in parallel worlds as far as the way we work. Like you go and you're doing your stuff for clients, and it's all very corporate and very kind of normal commercial stuff. And then you go and you do your YouTube stuff. For me, the doing the YouTube stuff has turned into more of the outlet where I get to be as creative as I want to be, and do things that like no business is gonna want some of that stuff in their videos. They're like, we want titles and we want this and that, and that's it. Or you're like, well, I was thinking about doing this and this and all this. They're like, no, we don't want any of that. They're like, okay, we'll just do the normal thing then.
I've had people want to hire me to go do videos. Somebody wants to flip houses and they want me to come film them and do that. I said, you couldn't pay me enough.
Yeah.
You would not be able to pay me enough to get me to do videos for you, unless, I guess you could, but it would be a really ridiculous amount of money that for me to start doing videos for other people, for me to stop working at my tattoo studio and stop doing this for fun. It would be insane amounts of money I would require.
Yeah. And that's so I've like especially doing the real estate stuff. I've stayed away from that because it's not my cup of tea.
When I first moved up here to the mountains, I had a buddy of mine from the RC car days when we raced, and he saw that I was into drones. He was like, "Oh my God, you're in $1 million homes everywhere. You need to get into real estate." And I debated it, and I'm so glad I didn't, because I think as soon as drones became a job, I would have hated it.
Yeah, that's where I've been fortunate. Like most of my commercial stuff, but my client stuff is like it'll be a drone shot here or there, but it's really minimal. It's mostly doing sit down and interview and then get lots of B-roll of something going on in an office or whatever. So it's that kind of stuff it pays the bills, which is nice. It's not super fun to do most of the time. Occasionally there's something really fun to do. And but then on the other hand, doing some of the drone stuff that I've done and some of the contacts of bumping into people here and there through various channels. Like I got to go and do some shoots for Caterpillar down in Illinois, which was really cool. And there I was just one of 3 drone operators on the thing they had going on, which was really fun. And I got to see this whole other side of all I'm doing is being a drone pilot. And then I hand everything off at the end of the day. I don't have to do it. I was like, I like that. That's a lot more fun than do all of the filming, edit it all together, and then hand it over to a client, all done, finished project. It was yeah.
I am torn on the editing. I love it and hate it at the same time. It's the slowest part of every video I do. And it's the most creative part in a sense too. And that's, I really enjoy the creativity of it. However, I have such limited time, man, such limited time. And that I've been working on editing a video about the GoPro Max mod lens for the 9, the Max lens, whatever the big,
the super wide angle.
And it's pretty incredible. It's better than I thought it was going to be, this thing. But I've been working on it for 2 weeks. It's been finished, and I've got 8 minutes into the video edited. And today I opened it for the first time in 4 days, watched it, and was like, well, that's boring. Let me cut out this, let me cut out that. And now it's a totally different video again, and it still doesn't have an end. So editing just can take forever if you want it to. There's a good enough. You got to get to a point, at least for YouTube, that there's a good enough instead of perfect.
Yeah. And that is, I think, generally now, especially when I set out to make a YouTube video, I have a finished one. I usually try and set myself a deadline of I want to be able to post it on this day or this date or whatever. But then I usually try and go in this is kind of overall how I want the final video to be. And you probably know this better than most. Like then you go out to film it and everything happens and nothing goes the way you were hoping because weather is around. There's, whatever. It's just like, and so you're like doing this whole like, well, okay, I can make that work if I do this way. And then if I do that, like I could change this and it could still end up in the same place, but totally different on how I got there in the end. And it's purely like people are like, oh, that sounds great. Like that would be awesome. Go out, hike around in Alaska and film a video, a piece of cake. I'm like, yeah, but you go out there and you have one whole goal and one plan on what you want to do and the things you want to film. And you get to a location and you realize none of what you had planned can work because of the location or the weather or whatever. And then you're like, well, I already drove 200 miles and I've hiked 15 miles. I'm here. I'm not going home without a video, so I better figure out something else to do right now in the moment.
That's actually how a couple of those Mini 2 and extreme weather condition videos I did ended up, because like I went out and from my house, I looked up at Loveland Pass where I can see it off in the distance, and it wasn't windy at my house at all. I drive up there, get out of the car, it doesn't seem windy. Next thing you know, I'm flying. I'm like, oh crap. These are probably like 60-mile-per-hour gusts. I probably shouldn't fly with. But I've already started the video because I've already filmed stuff here to here to there to there. And I'm like, well, crap. Well, if it goes down, then at least I'll have a crash video.
True. And then you can get the clickbait title and clickbait.
There's a difference between clickbait and clickable.
It's true. There is. And so I did the Mavic Air 2 video last year and I was like, I really love that drone. It's a great drone, but I came down to, I'm like, I can't keep it. I have a Mavic 2 Pro and there are enough times a year where somebody will want to hire me for something that they require me to give them something in 10-bit flat log profile. Mavic 2 Pro is the only drone that I've got that will do that. And I don't want to spend $7,000 for an Inspire.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I filmed the whole video and then I got down to the end. I was like, yeah, but I'm not going to keep it because of this. I was like, that's the title. That's a perfect clickable title. Like it's a great drone, and then the picture's like not keeping it. I had so many people get pissed off at that. Like they were so mad. Why? I can't believe you. I'm like, it's not clickbait. It's exactly what the title says.
I've been wanting to do a video that's called I'm Selling All My Drones for the longest time. And I'd be selling almost all my drones, I mean, I got like 9. I'm learning. I keep them all because I'm like, okay, when the next one comes out, I need to do a versus. I need this one versus that one. And then like I'm thinking of selling my Air 1. I just put my DJI Racing Edition goggles on eBay. Actually, let me share those if anybody wants to buy some goggles while we're talking about that, let me share these in the chat. I am selling these. They're on eBay, right? Wait, that is not the right link. What is that? Why did I put a number in there? Yeah, these are the racing goggles that came out before the regular FPV goggles, and I guess you can use them for FPV too. Are you familiar with these goggles?
Yeah, are they the black ones?
Yep.
Yeah, so you can they have a little analog receiver in there. You can put an antenna on and fly analog quads. Yeah. And
I got them. I opened them up. I put them on, connected it all to the drone. I was like, okay, put them back in the box. Cool. I'll make a video about them sooner or later. I'll fly with them. And I fly everything so mini and compact. I can't hike and I don't bring a bag with me when I hike usually, unless it's just water. That's why I like being able to shove this Mini 2 just in my pocket. I thought the controller was going to be too big, but it actually fits in my other pocket. So I can do that, one battery, and get plenty of flight time to get whatever shots I need for something like that. As soon as it becomes more extensive, like it's a Skydio or something like that, then I do need to take a bag of some sort. But if I'm just grabbing and going, I'm not going to bring goggles. I'm not going to go fly like that. I'm not going somewhere where I'm just taking my car to sit down and fly by the lake, usually just to sit there and fly. Now I will with this FPV stuff starting after we get this new drone. And I've been doing it with, these ones. Have you flown this one yet? Have you had one of these?
No, that one is very interesting to me though, because it disappears. I've seen some really creative stuff filmed with that one.
I am not the best flyer with it yet. I was able to land it on a towel in the snow, so that was good. But everything's snow right now, and I usually don't fry my drones, and I just realized the reason they don't usually fry all these DJI drones is because they're covered in plastic. I fried
Yeah.
this little dude the other day, like smoke came out of it, and it now gets a camera signal. I can see it. No reading on the camera, nothing else. Nothing turns on. I don't know if it's worth trying to replace this board on it, or if I should just spend $100 and buy a new one.
Is that
It's the Tiny
Emacs?
Hawk Freestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little freestyle.
I've been through a bunch of the Tiny Hawk 2s and the original Tiny Hawks. And I replaced boards on them and stuff like that. And I was like, I came to the conclusion, I was like, it's not worth it. It's better just to buy a new one and get something different.
I could probably just in beta, what the hell's that program called? Beta something, beta FPV. What is it? What is the program you got to hook it up? Betamax? No.
Beta. It's
something beta. Why can't I think of it?
It's
Beta Flight. That's what it is.
Beta Flight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
So I couldn't think of it for the life of me. Betamax. That's like an old VCR. Like, but
Betamax.
And copy like every setting in this, save it,
Yeah.
and then get your new one and drag it over so it would be all ready to go with my controller again.
Yeah,
so
it's easy. You just go and you do a dump on the CLI and then they put the next one in and put put the dump in there and it's all like ready to go.
Sunrise Water Media says he just replaced his board on the Freestyle 2. I think this is a Freestyle 1. I'm not quite sure from the pattern. I think the Freestyle 2 has a different pattern on the top of it. How hard was that? Was that a pain in the ass? How much soldering did you have to do? I hate soldering. Maybe I'll send this to you and let you just do it. I don't know. It'd be easier for me to go to the post office and mail this to somebody else than go and break out my soldering iron and deal with any of that. Soldering's easy to me. It's easy. I just don't. It's not fun.
It's tedious.
It is. But okay, so my career, prior to my career, prior to tattooing, I worked at Compact Computers on the assembly line. And my job was the last person on the assembly line, well, second to last, that would get a motherboard with a magnifying glass, go through and check all the little resistors and little chips everywhere. And if one was too crooked or that, I'd have to take this soldering removal tool, which is like a little soldering iron with a vacuum on it, suck up the solder, reposition it with tweezers, resolder it down manually, then send it on to the second check person to make sure I didn't miss anything. And I did that, I think from 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. And I'd always tell people, don't buy Compact Computers because I know how many of them we send through that we don't care about because we're so tired. And then I get into tattooing, and tattooing, before it became what it is now, you'd have to make your own supplies. So your needles that we're using to tattoo everybody, you have to make them. And basically, there are different configurations of needles that are, just think of tiny little sewing needles.
Right.
I have to solder them into rounds and the flats and the woven pieces. And every single Sunday, I had to sit there for like 4 to 5 hours soldering on my day off, and then cleaning the box off, rebagging them, sterilizing them, and doing that. I'd say at least 10 to 15 years before they started pre-making them like they do now. I got my fill of soldering. I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah. I could see that.
But okay, let's see. So we got you were embarrassed occasionally. Your family was embarrassed. I was embarrassed. Always when I would do a video like at the grocery store, and you set the camera like in between 2 boxes of cereal, and then you walk up, and someone happens to walk on the aisle when you're in the middle of walking up. You go, "Oh, I'm at the grocery store," and then you look, you make contact, and they're looking at you like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
All right, here's a good question for you. If you had to scrap everything that you have on your channel right now, not the knowledge you still have all the knowledge and hard work you put in your head, but you scrap your channel and you're going to start a brand new channel, completely different subject, completely different anything. It could be anything you want, and you instantly are killing it on it, no matter the subject. What would it be? Ooh, that would make you think.
It'd be like Jake Explores channel.
I'm not familiar with that channel.
That's what it would be. There are people that do those channels where they're like, so and so explores, and they go out there, and I'm like, that's probably what I would do. It'd be like Jake explores, and then just go to. I mean, do not what I'm doing now, but like going to some of these places. But the whole thing is like the journey of going there and exploring it, checking it out, and
it's funny you say that, because that's actually exactly what I want my channel to eventually turn into. Going on little trips and vacations. I've already even thrown some videos up on the channel like that, where I go to like on a hike to explore certain random things in Colorado, or a vacation with the family to Disney. You saw the Disney World one. Did you see the Rise of the Resistance ride? Whoa.
Yes.
If you've not been on it, you need to make plans. That was insane.
Oh, there are plans.
I was like ear to ear smiles the whole time. It was like, it's not like a ride, it's an experience. It's pretty incredible.
Nice. Yeah, I really want to get down there. I haven't been to Disneyland in a long time.
All right. So there on the current channel, I guess, where your growth is, because your channel like spiked pretty good over the last year. Like you had a growth spurt that took you from under me to like way over me. What are you at now, subscriber wise?
I'm 39,000.
See, that's awesome.
I think.
And do you know, have you figured out? We talked once, and I was like, what did you do around that time that made it change? Because all of a sudden it spiked, and it's continued. But do you know, did you ever figure out what it was that spiked it?
So I mean, as near as I can tell, like I really did kind of hone in on really what I wanted to do, and the people I wanted to help, I guess, that's the way of looking at it. And so I really started focusing on that. And I feel like it feels like it took YouTube about a year to figure out what I was doing, like the algorithm, which is the word everybody loves to use. I think that's what happened around like what I think the beginning of 2020 in January. At some point, I was like, I hit 10,000 subscribers. And I was super excited, and then 2020 being the year that it was, where a lot of people were home watching lots of YouTube and other stuff anyway. I think that probably helped quite a bit. But the big things that really hit were I did the Mavic Air review and that comparison with Skydio, the Mavic 2 Pro comparison with Skydio. I did some gimbal comparisons. And then typically, like, I do a review, but I was really focused on going out and doing the reviews on location. Yeah. And then I try and do a tutorial or a setup video or something like that. Hey, these are the settings that are, easiest to use or best to use or whatever. And that really seemed to start locking in, because people would watch the video that they might have found in search or browse or whatever about, such and such gimbal or such and such drone. And then they get to the point in the video, I'd be like, if you want to see how to use it or how to set it up, then click here and watch this video. Yeah. And I think once YouTube picked up that I was doing that, it started figuring out really fast who would like to see my videos, I guess is the way to say it.
So people. It's interesting.
And so,
no, go ahead.
Well, and so that's what started happening all through last year, and my focus last year especially became that's when I was really like, every video I'm doing, or at least as many as possible, I want to do out on location, like out in somewhere in Alaska. At the time, I was just kind of like, I want to do it because so many people are stuck at home, and it might give them like a place to go and see when they can't go anywhere, because it was, early on in March when everybody was locked down super hard. And then like after doing that for a month or two, I had some companies contact me and a couple of other things happen where I was like, oh, wait, people are liking this because I'm like, it's very like real world testing of these things out in these crazy, obviously they're beautiful locations. Yeah. And so that that kind of got me into that path of like, okay, that's what I love to do it because I love to go out and explore and I love to hike and check things out. But that's what really locked in was like, I'm going out, I'm doing really real world, tests, reviews, comparisons.
Pepper, pickle.
Exactly. And it's not even that cold in here. And so that's where it really started to go. And then the couple of drone review videos or drone comparison videos that I did last year really took off. And I don't know if it's because like half the time I'm like, I don't feel like I do that great of a job at like, because I'm still looking at the review videos of the people going, well, it has this spec and this spec and this spec, and it does this and this and this. And I'm like, and that's not what I'm doing. Like, I'll talk about some of the specs, but it's more like, yeah, it survived this, like you did with the Mini 2. It's like, I put it up there and it came back. So it's a pretty good drone. If you want a drone, you should use it.
Really good at doing the deep dive into the specs, like really what the specs are. I might touch on a couple little things, but I'd rather do something like with the Skydio where I go out and I'm showing you how to actually use the beacon in a real situation, or take out a real drone and show you how it fits in my pocket and I can use it to get out and just do stuff. I feel there's other guys that do the deep dive on the specs way better than I could, so I don't even bother with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like I've done, some camera, because I don't do just drone stuff, although it's probably along more of my favorite type of stuff to do. But I've done some camera stuff, and like there's a YouTuber named Gerald Undone who does camera stuff. There's nobody on the planet probably right now that is going to compete with him for going into the most minute details of how the specs affect how the camera works and all that sort of stuff. But he's also like, he's like this. He's at his desk and he's breaking down like just the most incredible in-depth of details of why the camera works the way it does and all this stuff. And it's like, and so like, I'm not going to be able to compete with that. On the other hand, like I can go out and do something in locations that a lot of people may never experience in their lifetime, and test it in one of those places.
That's what I do with these guys. You see so many GoPros and there's channels and they're getting them for free. I don't get GoPros for free. I actually have to pay for the GoPros. I've recently gotten a couple of Insta360s for free to review. And I've been pretty honest. Like the 1R was not like my favorite Insta360. And I've told them, and they still send me the X2, which I do like. I think the X2 and this GoPro Max are very competitive. They're very close to each other. Finally,
yeah.
Although they're probably coming out with a new one of these pretty soon, and if they do the right things to it, then it would put it way over here again. I had a bad experience recently with customer support with GoPro, so I've now got just a bitter taste in my mouth towards them. It's hard to really enjoy a product when their customer support is just reading off a screen and can't help you and really knows nothing about it, and then takes months to send you a replacement. I mean, just especially whenever there wasn't actually anything wrong with the one you sent in, it just had a scratch on the screen, and you're like, well, it's a free replacement anyway, so why not take advantage of it? And now 2 months later, you're getting defective products back when you're perfectly. So this is a camera you need, Jake. You need a GoPro Max. I'm telling you. I know.
Okay, so like you've been telling me that for like a year now, since you probably got the original GoPro Max or whatever. And I was like, yeah, Sean, whatever. I don't like 360 cameras. And then I messed with because Insta360 sent me the X2.
Okay.
And I was the first time I used a 360 camera that I was like, wait, this is actually pretty cool. I like this. And then I went back to, that's why Sean's been telling me to get a GoPro Max forever, is because this is how this is how it should work. This is a cool camera to use and it's actually useful.
Well, for your location, the 360 stuff will be hugely useful. Even if you stick it on a pole in the ground to walk by, you could then move the camera to follow you.
Right.
You have to bring that big slider mechanism you got now.
Yeah.
You get a similar kind of effect. Not exactly, but sort of.
Yeah.
But here's the thing is like nowadays the X2 is doing it. They finally matched this. The 1R, you had to take the camera apart and put it back together to do it. But the X2, you can use single lens mode. And everybody doesn't really think 360 camera means you have to use it. The Max, single lens mode, hero mode. I use that 90% of the time when I film with this, because the stabilization in this in that mode is insane. It's better than the 9 with the max lens mod attachment. It
Yeah.
is better than the X2's version of the single lens mode. You can also still, since it's a GoPro, it's already mounted, and have it so you can just turn it like that. The
Right.
X2 single lens mode would still be straight up and down unless you
Yeah.
had 2 adapters. And
Yeah.
this is feedback I gave into 360, and they might include something like this in the future in the box. They
Yeah.
need to, because that mode for action people like myself, imagine snowboarding in that mode. It's either filming the sky or the snow.
Right.
Like, I'll use this mode all the time. I'll bend the camera, stick it out, and it's still such a wide field of view that you can get your entire self in the shot, or turn the camera around by leaning it the other way, or switching to the other lens and following someone else. All like that.
Yeah.
And then it comes out as an MP4 on here in that mode. So you can film and take it right into your editing software. You don't have to put it through their proprietary software and then
Right.
so there's an extra step. There's still an extra step in 360 mode, but not in the single lens mode on the GoPro Max. And that's what I think you'll like it for. That, and the color profile on this is better than the color profile on the 9, the 8, and the 7.
Yeah. And that's what I keep seeing. Like, I've watched your videos on it and I'm like, man, the colors do look really good. On the 9, like I've been using the 9, which the 8 and the 9 have been my least favorite GoPros ever. The
Really?
8 purely because the 8 doesn't have a replaceable lens.
Yeah, the 8 lost in a river, and I never bothered replacing it.
Yeah, so that, like, I still use my 8 on my FPV quads. The 9, I don't know what they did with the touchscreen on the Hero 9, but it is the worst touchscreen I've ever used on an action camera. It just rarely works right. I mean, it's not like I'm exaggerating a little bit. It does work. It's just frustrating to try and use it and to get it to do what I want it to do. And at first I thought I had a defective screen or something was wrong with the camera, but then I posted something about it somewhere and I had tons of people go, yeah, we're having the same problems. Like, we're hoping that GoPro fixes it with a firmware update. And it did get better with one of the firmware updates, but it's still not great. But so I've been using the Hero 9 basically as like my BTS camera, behind the scenes stuff, where I film myself going out and be like, it's all just like it's the behind the scenes journey of going out to film one of the videos that I post on YouTube, and then I'll post it and it goes up on like Patreon or something like that, for if you want to see a really uncut version of of what goes on behind the scenes, because basically I just dump all the footage in there. Maybe I'll trim it up here or there a little bit, and that's it. Yeah. Like, and it has worked really well for that.
It's interesting you say that, because I've heard a lot of people say that. And when I first got, well, not this one, but the 9, the touchscreen sucked. But mine works like 99% of the time now. Like, I don't know why mine's working so much better. And I still hear people complaining. And it makes me wonder if maybe there's another update that you haven't done, or maybe I just got lucky with mine working better after the update.
Yeah, or maybe they're using 2 different suppliers, and one supplier is just a little bit better quality control, or I don't know. It's it's been frustrating. But I started using it, and I will only film in the flat color profile on it, because everything else makes me look like I'm an orange. Like, my skin is
the max color profile. The skin doesn't look orange.
Right. And that's what I'm like, you're the same. Why does that camera look so much better than the 9? I don't understand.
I think whatever they did with this on a Hero mode, and now if you film in 360 mode, the colors pop even more than Hero mode. But in Hero mode, if you're filming yourself, say, blah, 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 I'm doing this, and you take that MP4 right over Final Cut or whatever you use to edit, you don't really have to tweak your colors. I mean, for YouTube especially, I mean, everything comes out ready to go. Your blues are popping. Your skins look like skin. Like, I look oranger now than what this camera makes me look.
Yeah.
And that's because I didn't take time to set my lights up correctly tonight. But it's definitely something, if I knew for sure they weren't putting out a new one for another year, I'd say grab it today.
Yeah, now and that's kind of where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna wait and see. I'll wait a few more months and just see kind of what
But
happens.
I guarantee you, even if they make a new one, you would find yourself using this up there in Alaska quite a bit.
Yeah,
Especially because you can have the one camera, touch the button, and it goes from 360 back to regular mode. That's
right.
the thing right there. Is a tap of the button, just like the X2 does. However, the file won't need to be tweaked through another app. You can just use it and make a whole video right off of that. So that's the
Yeah,
only downside I think with the X2 is that one, it doesn't have a way to tilt it built in the box, so you have to have adapters. And two, to get the higher quality on the single lens mode, you have to still run it through their app. Other than that, the X2's battery is better. I'll give it that.
yeah. I do like the form factor of the X2 a little bit better, just because it's so small and narrow. It's nice to be able to throw it in a bag.
Yeah.
It doesn't take up a lot of space.
Well, I mean, this is the same thing. This is much smaller than you think it is.
Yeah.
It's, let's see. Got so off topic here. I'm just gonna wrap up the interview and then we'll just talk. Two more questions. We'll ask two more questions. One is, if you won the jackpot lottery tomorrow, would you continue making YouTube videos?
Absolutely. I would, and I was thinking about this the other day. I would still be making YouTube videos even if I wasn't making any money at it at all. Like I've fallen in love with the process of going out and doing it, and the posting of the video that's great. I mean, there's a lot of videos that I make that don't get posted, but I really enjoy the process, and
yeah,
I think it's a lot of fun. So yeah, I would.
You sort of have to if you're going to go anywhere with YouTube, because you don't make a dime for years with YouTube. And
my gosh.
Unless you get lucky. And some channels blow up quick, but most of them
Right.
don't. Most people, I think it's like 80 or 90% of people quit YouTube before they hit 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, it's hard to get 1,000 subscribers. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Like that first 100, and I didn't really understand it until now, and I'm like, whatever. Like people go, yeah, your hardest subscribers are your first 100, and the next hardest is their first 1,000, and then the next hardest is 10,000. And kind of once you get above 10,000, like you've got this sort of ball rolling, the momentum's going a little bit, and it just starts going.
I think posting regularly at that point.
Yes. And that's the thing, being consistent and posting, similar stuff, not totally completely random different things. Yeah. That makes a big difference. And I was kind of like, yeah, whatever. But I did see once I passed 10,000, it was like, oh, they weren't kidding. Like there is a certain amount of momentum that happens but getting there, oh my gosh, it's like climbing up a mountain.
10 to 20,000 went fast. I had a spike a couple months ago when I did a GoPro Max versus the GoPro 9. And I did that, and I think the Mavic Air 2. And I had two videos, totally different subject matter, and they both blew up. And then all of a sudden, like an influx of that, and on one of my snowboarding videos. And I did these videos about, so that's my problem. My channel is all over the place with content. I'll do a video on what is it like to go to Breckenridge with COVID, right? And I did all the mountains on opening day, how the mountains were set up, and those videos all got 10, 20,000 views. And then I got like the GoPro Max one I was talking about, the side-by-side, that one got like 50 plus, and then 100,000 on the Air 2 video, and none of them are related, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I don't know how that's happening, but somehow I'm breaking the mold of having to have that niche. Now, for some reason, everything's slowed down again. So
I think that's the time of year, though, because I noticed the same thing of like the last month and a half, 2 months has been really slow. I think that's like a January, February thing. After Christmas, like starting the new year.
Yeah, and I see what you wrote in there. I've totally posted videos that were different subject matters. Like if I post a snowboard, like when I post this video of me teaching Ed to snowboard, at first it's going to show how you can see plus subscribers from the video.
Yeah.
It's a negative.
Right.
Maybe eventually it'll go back to plus. But YouTube, I think the algorithm is broken because they reward you for being a small niche versus just getting views. Like, the way it works for the people watching, when you upload a video and you upload the same content, let's say it's drone and we're going to do Mavic Mini only, like Mini 2, Mini only videos, not even all drones, just that. We narrow it down to just that. You will blow up with subscribers so much faster than if you did even just other drones. And then if you bring action cameras into it, now you're going to grow subscriber count slower and slower. And the reason for that is because YouTube will pump your video out and show it as a suggested to your own subscriber base first. So now all your subscribers watch you because you vote, you make Mini 2 videos. However, now you put an all-tell video out and they don't give two craps about that, or they don't give two craps about a GoPro or a hike or whatever. They don't click that video. And what that tells YouTube is that your video is not even good enough that your own subscribers want to watch it.
Yep.
And then
and so then it doesn't surface it to other people.
Where if they did it right, they would give two shits less. And no offense, I love my subscribers and I love that they watch the videos. But if YouTube did it right, they would not push it to subscribers first. They would push it to people that search whatever your keywords are and whatever your tags are in your title first. And if people that watch that kind of content said, let me click on that, then they push it out further. Subscribers sort of, to me, should be sort of a club, a community that, shouldn't be the judgment of whether your whole channel lives or dies. Yeah. Because there's, if you look at your analytics, for me, I'd say less than 10% of my subscribers are my views. 90 to 95% of my views come from non-subscribers. Yeah. And there are some channels. I know some channels that number is much higher. And usually those are vlog type channels. Yeah.
Yeah. The personality based channels, the vlog style channels, those are really different animals. And everything I've heard about them is like, it's way harder to grow. It takes way longer, but you do end up in you end up in a different place anyway, but you do end up with a pretty strong knit community if it's based around personality and vlog.
And that is how you make your money on YouTube, is building your community, getting people who like what you're doing, that want to support what you're doing by buying t-shirts, stickers, all that kind of stuff. And like, I see people with that, like if they're just doing search content on a drone and you're plugging a sticker and they don't know you from Adam, they're not going to buy a sticker. They're not going to, even if it's your own custom stuff, they don't care. They're just getting information and going. Or maybe you might get lucky and they subscribe and they watch one every now and then. But if you're doing something that brings them in and shares your life with them and they like you and they can relate, and you build this community and you get back to them in the comments and you do live streams like this and you try to build this community, I feel you have a better chance of growing YouTube and making a living out of it with a much smaller subscriber base.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me ask you one more question, and then we'll talk some DJI FPV if you're down for that, because I know that's probably what everybody wants to talk about tonight. Let me just have you one piece of advice for anyone watching right now who's starting YouTube. If you could give them one piece of advice to help them on the journey, what would it be?
Definitely don't care about the subscriber number, and really, like, give yourself a good year, maybe year and a half of just putting out tons of videos that probably nobody's going to see, but mostly just for you to figure out what, like, your style of editing, your style of filming, to kind of figure out the method that you like, that works for you as far as how you go around doing it. And you get to work out all of the bugs and the kinks of, like, how to use cameras or how to use lighting or sound or anything like that. And so that's what I'd say is, like, plan on making 100 videos that you're really going to hate most of them because they won't look like what you want or sound like what you want. And you'll be figuring out kind of your process, and really don't worry about especially the subscriber number in those first 100 videos.
Great advice. All right. let's talk a little FPV stuff before we wrap it up. I know a lot of people. Are you buying? First of all, are you buying the new DJI FPV drone?
I am, yes.
You gonna buy it locally or buy it online?
No, there's nobody who'll carry it locally, at least not early on. We might get it a few months later, but so I'll buy it online, and hopefully FedEx won't like send it twice around the world before they send it to me. But I'm definitely buying it. Mostly I want to test it and stuff, obviously, because I still will fly these. I love flying these things, the ones that I build and stuff, and I've got my bigger ones that carry the cinema cameras. But most of the stuff that I want to do FPV wise for say the YouTube videos or things like that is mostly just capturing the places I go with a different feel than the typical GPS drone, even though I still loved using GPS drones. And so I'm going to buy it. I'm really curious to see what it's capable of, especially if it can kind of dual both, where it can kind of be a GPS drone, but it can also be an FPV drone. That'd be pretty sweet because it can kind of kill two birds with one stone.
Here's something that I'm wondering, right? No one's talked about this. Will it have active track? Because it has sensors.
Dude, I've been wondering that for like 3 days now. Like if they've built it so that it has some sort of active track, holy crap, that would be amazing.
In regular mode or regular camera type drone, the rumor is about 33 miles per hour. Then it goes up to, I think, 50 or 60 in the second mode, which still uses sensors, right? So if it's still able to use sensors, technically, if it has active track, it should be able to go in that 40 to 50, 60 miles per hour on active track.
Right.
That would be killer, right?
That'd be amazing.
And then the third mode is almost acro. Supposedly there's a fourth mode that you have to really get in and unlock to get full acro. But let me share this video with everybody. Most people have probably seen this. This is a video. Especially the beginning. Let me just replay the beginning. See, it does like a barrel roll. Come on, replay.
Yeah, diving down that waterfall.
So, that's supposedly all filmed with that new drone.
Right. And see if it could do those. Obviously it can. Like, that's for filming. That's mostly what you would need. Like, you wouldn't have to do this. These are fun. Like, I love going out and doing all kinds of really ridiculous freestyle with this. And then crashing it a lot and fixing it a lot. But for filming, like, that's all you don't have to do any of the really crazy acro stuff. You just want to be able to go fast and be able to get that flowy kind of flying through motion.
I use the Fortnite wings a lot and airplane. And although you can do barrels and you can do loops, that's fun and all, but you weren't doing. I never got into the 3D planes. Are you familiar with those?
Where you go upside down and
they basically they're real thin and they fly them and do weird little tricks and hover and do this. I could care less about doing tricks like that. Like, I wanted, like, think of like a roller coaster, like a big metal roller coaster that's not a bunch of loops, maybe one or two, but it's super smooth and fast and big thing. That's what I want, right? And so that's what I think is going to be perfect for this drone. I think that because even in the second mode, which still is stabilized to some degree, and you're able to fly it at 60 miles per hour, that might be enough to be able to like follow a stream up here or bank next to a mountain. The only thing you need the acro for is that I'm going to go up and really hug it and come down like this.
Right. Like, come dive down the mountainside or whatever. And like, I got to see if I can find it. Like, that's pretty much all I was doing in that one. Yeah. Oh, this one here. Like this video here.
And let me say real quick, Sam is actually right. I also enjoy doing the little flips with these little guys, but like, I don't see a reason to get bigger ones just to do flips and freestyle. Like, I don't enjoy it that much. Like,
Right.
but these guys are not what I want for flying down a river, you know?
Right. Well, and you want to be able to capture good footage of it.
Yeah. And you can't do that with Tiny Hawk, that's for sure.
Right. And so, like, you know, I'm not doing anything, no crazy acro here. I was concerned about my quad crashing or something happening, you know, and me not being able to get it back. Because if it had gone down anywhere over here, I never would have gotten it back. This is like the most closest acro thing I did.
That's cool.
All of which I think you'll be able to do with the DJI drone, which will be pretty awesome because you have the really good link quality with OcuSync 2 or OcuSync 3, whatever they put in there.
Well, it's OcuSync 3, actually.
That's just, it's rumor they're going to put OcuSync 3 on there. I don't know if that's true. I mean,
somebody told me. I can't say who.
Well, yeah, I mean, I read it on a couple of places too. And like,
well, no,
you know,
I didn't read it. This is somebody who has it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they actually have the drone. I know a couple people that have it. They weren't probably supposed to tell me anything, but it's tomorrow, right? I can say a couple things now.
Yeah,
right?
it's like in less than 12 hours now. It's
I'm not mentioning names, but
10 and a half hours. But like this kind of stuff, if you could do all this kind of stuff with that drone, but then also have the whole GPS stabilized sort of feel,
yeah,
man, that's going to be awesome. It's going to get a ton of people into FPV, you know, in a relatively safe way, hopefully in a safe manner. Yeah, and the whole GPS rescue thing, somebody just said that, Sam Burns said that, yeah, GPS rescue is exactly right. Like, I have GPS rescue set up on one of my quads, and it does work to a certain degree. But, you know, knowing DJI, like their GPS rescue is going to be like the Mavic. It'll come back and it'll land itself 3 inches from where it took off.
So, you know, I find a lot of people saying, like Doc right now is over there saying that most that seem excited about this are people that don't want to take the time to learn what you need, or all the diehard drone operators, the regular camera guys. And then there's people like me that are sort of in between, who have been learning all the beta flight stuff and have been learning all the regular FPV stuff. But would be stoked because of time restraints to have something that just always worked. Always. Plug it in, go. And I could land it in the snow because this new one is encased. All the electronics are encased. So I've been like starting to paint this stuff with the silicone coating, you know, to make it so that the snow doesn't destroy it. Because I used to not care. I've landed these in snow many a times and never had an issue until the other day. I was bragging to Ed. I was like, no, it's fine, Ed. I crash in the snow all the time. And then I crashed in the snow, pick it up, plug it back in, and it just snow out everywhere. I'm like, it's because I was showing off, you know.
Right.
But, you know, a regular DJI drone is encased in plastic. All your electronics are inside. The odds of really messing it up in snow are really small. And that's how the thing looks to me as well. That's another benefit for me. Now, does that mean I won't fly these anymore? This one I'll keep because it's unique. It's got a 360 camera on it.
Right.
So it does something different, just like the Skydio does something different for me. This one, I might replace because it's small and fun, and it's just going to be like fun little cheapy freestyle thing. If I break it, I lose it, I crash it, $100, boom, I'm back in the air. Will I start spending more money on other drones? Only if the modular that comes with this one will work with the old modular. I'm sorry. If the DJI One modular will work with this controller, which I've heard it might not, that you might have to wait until they start selling ones with the version 2 modular to make it work with the goggles and the new controller. But if everything works, then I might get like a couple other ones that were digital. But I don't think after getting this set up, I will buy any other analog stuff except for the stuff I already have if I need to replace it.
I think what's most exciting to me about the DJI FPV drone is I think as a whole, it's going to push FPV along at a little faster rate, maybe in some ways, kind of like they did with the digital HD system. You know, it really did push other companies to have to start innovating at a little faster pace. And I hope that maybe the DJI FPV drone does the same thing, especially when it comes to like having GPS loiter mode and stuff like that programmed in. You can do that now with
A lot of
iNav, but you can't do it with Betaflight, you know, and so I think that's what I think is one of the most exciting things to me, is that it's going to push the FPV as a whole, as far as development of software and hardware, forward, just because there's you know, more development, more research going into it.
I think 200%. A lot of other companies will start trying to come up with something similar to this now. Something with that, that's an all-in-one unit like that. And there are all-in-ones you can buy. I mean, you can buy an all-in-one little beginner kit with this. Now, if you have a better controller and better goggles, you can't. You got to figure it all out and make it all work together. Hey, what's up? Aldrin Flight Path is in the room, everybody. Nice to see you.
I bet he has one.
Yeah, he probably already has one. He can't say. Just type nothing if you have one already, Aldrin.
Yeah, don't say anything, Aldrin, if you have one.
If you don't have one, then say nothing. If you have one, say nothing. Say nothing, and we'll know you have one.
Yeah.
So yeah, usually I give away stickers. I forgot to give away stickers tonight. Let me give away a quick sticker to everybody. He types nothing.
And he typed anything.
That is great. One drone sticker tonight. We're going to keep this just a one sticker giveaway. Numbers. What I usually do, Jake, is choose a number between 1 and something, and people guess. I'm looking for a pin right now so I can write down my number choice, and I don't have any pins. Where do my pins go? And then I just mail it out to a winner for free. Just something I like to do in every live stream. Sometimes I give away bigger products, but today, since we're just interviewing and talking, we got to do one sticker. So pin. Okay. Let's see. Between numbers 1 and 25. Go ahead and guess the number, guys. And the first person, somebody already won it. Stop guessing. That was fast. that was fast. Yeah, number 11. So that's what I wrote on the back. So let me type in my email address. I'm slowing down on how many stickers I'm giving. When I first started out, I was doing like 5 giveaways a show. And
oh man, that's a lot to keep track of.
I got the same guys winning stickers again and again and again. So I make sure I was in live chat just to make sure that was the first one.
If it was 11, it was Texas Arch Drone Guy is the first one that said 11.
So go ahead and send me an email. Did I type in my email address? I did not. And send your address, and I will send that sticker out to you tomorrow. All right. Let me just write down your name so I don't forget. And include your username with your email, with your real name. Don't just send me an email and not, because then I won't know for sure who's who or what. But yeah, that'd be great. Okay, back to talking about drone stuff. That was the fastest sticker giveaway I've ever had.
It's like they almost guessed it before you even said guess a number between.
Dude, I've had the shows where I just sort of hold it up, and next thing you know, numbers start going. As this grows, I'm gonna have to find a different way to do it, because like if I ever get 100+ people in these, it's gonna be really hard to like watch these and make sure the first person is.
So then what you do is you got to super chat your number.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. That super chat, the first super chat with a number, I'll write that number down and you win.
Yeah, there you go.
The doc is saying the soldering isn't that tedious. Soldering's not hard. It's tedious to me after doing it for 20+ years. Someone who hasn't done it 20+ years probably isn't going to think that.
Yeah.
But, I'm not saying that any of it is hard to use Betaflight and all that. It is time consuming when you first get it. Like I got this guy in and it wasn't hooked up to any of my stuff. So I had to go in and make it all hooked up. And once I figured that out, then everything was reversed. Nothing worked correctly. Like my throttle stick was actually my yaw and all kinds of weird stuff. It didn't come set right in that sense. So then I had to go in and figure out what the hell was going on to learn how to tweak that. It's not super obvious where you go to start reversing things and changing parameters and things like that when you're learning on your own. Oh, thank you, Lloyd. I appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. For it, I don't have a ka-ching sound. I would totally put a ka-ching sound effect in here.
Ka-ching.
But thank you so much. I appreciate that, Lloyd, Grumpy Blogger. I can show it like that, so thank you.
Yeah. Joe Blacklock says no, soldering sucks.
It does, man. If you get the flux on you, it gets pretty itchy.
Oh, dude. Yeah. It's
Well, I do think that I said this in the Drone Nation show earlier, and I do think I stand by this. Not all guys that are FPV guys, but some of the harder core FPV guys that are super into learning beta flight, and like they know it backwards and forwards, super into soldering, building their own, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
If that's a part of the hobby. That is a hobby itself, and that's awesome. If that's what you're into, the building, awesome. I've known many guys that race RC cars that liked tearing their car completely apart between races, cleaning it, rebuilding it, redoing the shocks every damn race. And we're talking a race is like once an hour, and they tear it down, rebuild it every hour. It was insane. Where me, I'm running mine till it was trashed. I didn't want to build nothing. I could paint the bodies all day long. So what I would do is find someone that loved building it, paint their bodies, and trade for them to tear my car down. And I would just race it and then hand it to them when I got off. It was great. Hey, Steve Carpenter, good to see you in the room.
Steve Carpenter.
So that what I was getting, the point I was getting at is a lot of those guys that seem like they've paid their dues to learn FPV seem really pissed off about people wanting to skip that part and just fly. And I don't think they should be. It's a different kind of person. If those people don't want to get into that part as that part of, because that is a hobby in itself, like I said, that's okay.
Yep.
Like they shouldn't be pissed. It doesn't mean no one's going to be able to fly these, that they're going to stop selling these kind. They're still going to be there. Everything they do is going to stay exactly the same. It's just going to bring in new people. And maybe those people will break their stuff and be out of it within a week. Maybe they'll love it. Maybe they'll start buying other ones. Maybe they'll decide to get into the building part of it. Maybe they won't. But who cares either way?
Yeah, and that's what I think. I mean, there's always people like that, like, when I started doing recording studio stuff, I learned on tape, like all analog gear. And then the digital revolution happened right around then.
Those digital guys.
I wasn't, but man, there were a lot of people who were like, you don't know what the F you're doing. You just got blah, 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 blah. And I was like, whoa, chill, man, chill. Like, holy crap. And I think there is that way, but it's true. The bar to entry in FPV is so hard especially if you don't have anybody around you that can kind of like at least point you in the right direction. Like, I mean, you can watch a million YouTube videos, but if you don't know where to start, like what videos to start with, then you're just poking around in the dark and hoping you figure something out on the way. But, I think it is going to open the doors for more people to at least experience parts of it. Maybe not all the way. Maybe some won't want to go all the way, but a lot of people will. And I think I think overall, it's just going to advance the hobby overall. That's awesome. Let me say thank you so much, Joe. That is awesome. $19.99 super chat. A big thank you for sending out stickers. Something I like doing. Like in some of these videos you see, I don't know if you guys saw the no drone sign that I posted today on the community part of the channel. But if you did, one of my stickers was right next to where it said no drones. I don't know how that happened, but I love seeing that. But yeah, thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. And that's the whole thing of like, there's a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. Like a year and a half ago, hardly anybody was flying these on FPV drones.
Yeah.
And if they were on FPV drones that were like 3-4 feet across. They were huge. I've got an FPV drone now that's like this big and it will fly this. I mean, I've flown reds on it and stuff like that. It's a whole new thing that's being opened up, but it only has been opened up because a whole bunch of people, or at least a decent sized group of people, really started pushing on that specifically to be able to fly high quality cinema cameras on FPV drones rather than GoPros. And it as a whole, everything has advanced because of that. And
Well,
I,
it's like
I
you
just
can't
I think the
copy it.
same thing's true for DJI jumping into an FPV drone. It's just going to help advance everybody else.
Yeah, and you can go back to just the music stuff, the tape versus digital. When I first started getting a digital, and I was like, wait a minute, we don't have to re-record the whole song. I can just punch in and just record this one part, super easy. Like, and then just hit repeat and loop it, and then come in and just add some little things here and there to make it sound like it's not looped. That was huge. Like that would
Yeah.
make time in the studio from a band that was trying to pay for their own way, like to so much less time in a studio, so much less money out of my pocket than having to have it so down that you could play it in one take and it was just like perfect.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, the thing was, like, all the guys that were mad at tape, I was like, are you kidding me? You would rather sit there with a razor blade slicing a piece of tape that if you screw up, it's like $300,000 to rehire the orchestra and bring all the talent back in to re-record that 2 seconds that you just screwed up, as opposed to going with a mouse and clicking a couple things and fixing it that way. I'm like, you're insane. If you, there's no way. Having undo is invaluable, man. I know a guy that he erased 10 seconds of a 40-piece orchestra track that was being made for, I don't know, it's like Barbra Streisand or something like that.
And he lost it.
10 seconds because he accidentally pushed record on all of the tracks on the 2-inch tape. And that was it. It was gone. Like, there's no undo, And so it's like, okay, so we have to hire that orchestra in London and the studio in London to re-record the entire song because you just accidentally erased 10 seconds. Like, no, I'll take a computer where you can hit undo any day.
Yeah, totally. Or just save another copy. There's so many copies of the same song because I tried it a different way.
Right.
Yeah. So, basically the point is that technology can be our friend when it advances. You don't have to be scared.
Yeah.
Guys that do it one way, if you want to keep doing it that way, there's nothing saying you can't. You have to change. And there's nothing, and the new guys can't experiment. Everyone can get along and play together nicely.
Exactly. I'll still be flying these guys. I'll still be flying my big FPV quads. I'll still be flying the little ones around the gym in the winter with friends. And like, none of that's going to change, but I'm definitely getting the FPV quad from DJI just to try and try it out and see what it can do, what it's capable of, and post videos about it on YouTube because, that's what I do.
So I thought you'd get a kick out of this. This is
that's awesome.
This is a point I want to show that people usually forget that 360 cameras can do pictures also, right? So nobody's holding that camera except me, and you can't tell, right? But the cool thing is with the pictures, you can sit here and let me close these one at a time here. I don't know if I thought this through how I was going to show this. So I was trying to show the same picture, and well, that's not the right one either, but yeah. So that's actually only about 3 feet over my head. It looks like it's crazy high, but let me see. I actually had one picture done in like multiple ways. Okay, here, I think this is it. And I wanted to share with everybody and yourself, because I know you're just now dabbling with the 360 camera, what you can do with these things. So this looks like a standard picture taken with a regular camera, basically. And then you can use the same picture and do it a completely different way. Let me share a different screen now. Oops. This thing is a little wonky on sharing stuff, but that's not it. There's the sticker. Look at that.
That's weird how that got there.
I just love seeing that stuff all around the town. I'll find my stickers on the ski resort everywhere and just all over the place. I don't know how they get there, but it's pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah. I'm trying to find these pictures. Hold on. Let me get this together a little bit of this. That picture, that picture, that picture, that picture's the same, and that picture, and that picture, and that picture's the same, and that picture. Okay, these work now. Now, if I can just share them in the right order. All right. So you got the one, which should be, that's the one that looks sort of normal. Okay, and then same exact picture we God, I wish there was an easier way on this. Sometimes I want to go back to OBS just because I can actually preset things up.
Yeah.
That's the same picture. So the picture you just looked at in this picture are the exact same picture.
Yeah, that's cool.
They just look, one's a normal picture and one's crazy. So let me actually close those two and share another one, which is probably another way. And that's something I always even forget to take pictures with these 360 cameras because you get like such, and that's the same picture. That's the exact same picture that I just edited 3 different ways. So one looks normal and then the other 2 look all crazy. So let's see, one more, I think, and this should hopefully be the normal looking one. Yeah, a little more normal, but those 3 weird looking ones were all right there. Same picture. So that's one of the cool things. If you guys are interested in 360 for photography as well, you can get weird pictures that you just can't get with other cameras.
Yeah.
Just something to keep in mind.
And the nice thing is you don't have to really worry about where the camera's pointing.
Nope, not at all. Like that, you just stick it out, and as long as it's far enough, that way you don't get a stitch line in your hand.
Yep.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else besides that I got to wake up at like 6:30 in the morning because I also don't have a Best Buy near me. So I have 2 options. One is to wake up and drive to Denver, an hour and a half or so, go to a Best Buy, hope that Best Buy actually has them in stock.
Right.
Because they might not even have it. And if they don't, then I have to drive to another one and still be back here in time to go to work by 1.
Yeah.
Or I just get online to DJI, have $200 in DJI credits from affiliate links and put that towards it, save myself $200 and go from there. That's probably what helped, to be honest.
Yeah. And that's what I'll wake up at 5 or 4, whatever. Well, 5 when the thing goes, and then I'll watch it. I'll probably pre-order it or order it right as soon as it goes on sale, and then wait and watch, because it's frustrating. Everything that gets shipped here comes through Anchorage. They land here and then they go to, Memphis or wherever. And then from there, it comes back up here. And I'm always like, if you could just drop it off, you're here. You just drop it off. I'll come over and pick it up. But no, it has to go down to Memphis and go through customs and then come all the way back up here. I'm like, man.
Well, that's the sad part. By the time I get mine in, there'll be so many reviews of this thing up. And hopefully it is what I think it is. So, in the morning, you'll see all these people popping up reviews. Flight Path, I have his review up.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot.
Flight Path, Aldrin, when is your review going live? Is that in like
your review
8 hours?
Morning? Pacific time. Let us know. We'll jump on, watch yours first. You're gonna probably see people like iJustine with one, maybe. She always gets that would be interesting because she's like the not really drone person, right? Oh, Aldrin's gonna be waking up at 9 a.m. I guess that's Eastern time is what he's talking about. So
but he already has it. So he doesn't really even have to wake up for the thing. He's probably got his video scheduled to go live at,
No, but I think he's throwing out a hint. He's throwing out a hint.
Yes.
Come on, guys. We got to respect that. He's up every day at 5:30. Oh, golly, that's way earlier than I get up. I got to get up by 7:30. But I also don't go to bed until like midnight or so. So I get a good 7 hours sleep at least. But 6 million subs. iJustine, don't get. She's a cute girl. 2, she posts a lot, and she
a ton
on YouTube prior to it blowing up to what it is now. So people who got on it back, like when I started in 2008, she was on it then. But she posted regularly. Like I posted every October. That's it, because I was doing hobby makeup tutorials. And I didn't know it could go anywhere. I had no idea, right? I didn't care about any of that. But the people that did care, they stayed regular back in 2008, they're all huge now. You look at some of the original guys like Boogie. Do you guys know who Boogie is?
Oh, yeah.
Did Francis, the character Francis. And back in 2008 and 2010, when Francis came out, everyone thought that wasn't a character. It was just some fat guy that was playing video games yelling at his sister. And those were all skits. That was his wife posing as his sister, and they were all just make believe little fun skits, and they blew up. You know, you got the old YouTube stuff like the kid with the lightsaber that went viral, and all. You know, he got made fun of for that. It's such a shame. Like a lot of
Oh yeah.
stuff back then got made fun of because YouTube was so new and different, and it wasn't meant to be a satire at the time. People were just getting them and turning them into satires. So they weren't laughing with them; they were laughing at them, which is a real bummer. But nowadays,
Yeah.
look at TikTok, and you can't do anything that makes anyone ashamed anymore, right? TikTok's whack.
Yeah.
Check how many times my Best Buy does until 11. Yeah, I'm not going to drive down to Denver. I'm going to use my Best Buy. I'm not going to do Best Buy. I wish I could. If there was a Best Buy even within 30 minutes, I would make the drive and go check a couple. But an hour and a half to just take a chance to see, because if I wait until to call when they open, and then I got to drive down there an hour and a half, it's a pain in the ass, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Just again, I'm going to share this with anyone who is looking for this. I am selling this to try to make up a little bit of money for this drone. If you own, I think the Zoom, the Mavic 2 Pro, I think the Air 1, anything that works with the Go 4 app. I don't know if they made it work with the Air 2 yet, but the original DJI racing goggles, I just put mine up on eBay, and the link is right there in the chat. Joe, I usually hate buying directly from DJI, and I don't know if you've ever had this issue, Jake, but I tend to get defects from DJI right out of the box a lot. I've had that issue on at least three drones from them. And the return process sucks because like if you buy at a local store like Best Buy and something's wrong with it, you can bring your receipt in and just return it for a brand new box. And you go through DJI, you have to return it, and they send you one that's refurbished. They don't just take your box back and give you a new box. That's the biggest downside to their buying straight through DJI, I think.
Yeah.
But
I haven't had bad luck with by getting bad products straight from DJI. I have had bad luck with, them taking 10 days to get to me because they shipped it out and then it goes and does a tour of the Western Hemisphere on FedEx. And then finally they go, oh no, Alaska. That was supposed to go to Alaska, not Arkansas and Florida and New York and Maine and Minneapolis and everywhere else it goes. And I'm sitting and watching on tracking. I'm like, come on, why? Why is it going that direction?
So this sucks. Like what John just said. He said he knows someone who already got DJI version 2 goggles direct from DJI. Now he has to send them in.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
That is the worst because if you buy them locally, you just drive right back to the store, bring your receipt in, switch it out, done. I wish that DJI would do something like Amazon and some of these other companies do, where once it's scanned in at the store that you're sending it back, they send you the replacement, right?
Yeah.
Send the whole box back, new replacement on the way out. If they get a box full of rocks, they've got your credit card on file. They charge you. You basically sign something that says that's good. You're cool with that. That would speed the process up. It would be so nice. It would really be so nice. Oh, and about DJI Refresh. Someone mentioned earlier about the $199 DJI Refresh for this, which is more than the 10% that it normally is for most of their drones, by the way. So there's that, which is sort of weird. I don't quite grasp why it's so much a bigger percentage than it normally is. I am not planning on getting DJI Refresh for this.
Either.
I don't get DJI Refresh pretty much for anything. Where I live, State Farm does do a personal articles policy. They don't do that for drones in California that I'm aware of. I think that's one of the only states they don't. There might be a couple others. But the personal article policy is also what you would put like a ring on or a regular DSLR camera or your computer. And if you show them when you buy it, the receipt, and that it's brand new, and it costs give or take $60 a year for a certain amount of thousands that you can put on. I think it's close to $5,000 worth of products for $60 a year through State Farm. If you break it, lose it, get it stolen, crash it in water, can't retrieve it, you report it, and they just send you a check for the full price. So if
Yep.
you do that, now you'll still have your goggles, your controller, and extra batteries, and the full price, everything back.
Yep.
So that's probably what I will do, since I've done that on so many of my other ones. The only one I've not put on there is actually my Air 2 and my Mini 2. The Mini 2 I didn't because I bought that actually as a throwaway drone. I know that sounds horrible, but I did buy it because of the price, that I could lose it and not like cry too hard, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And that's partly why I got the Mini 2 was just like, okay, this drone is inexpensive enough that I don't mind if I don't get it back. It'll be kind of my high risk, my high risk flying drone.
So, John, what state are you in that State Farm doesn't insure it anymore? I know California doesn't, and there's probably a couple others, but
Yeah, they stopped doing it in Alaska too.
did they? Yeah, they still do it in Colorado, because I was just talking to someone today actually about that.
That's good.
Yeah. I'm not planning on flying it in between small spaces like I would a regular FPV drone. So I don't think there's as much of a chance of crashing it, especially considering that if you're in a bigger open space and you're trying to swoop down like a mountainside or something, and you get disoriented or something messes up, it's just a switch. From what I understand from people I know, so you flip a switch on it and it levels out right in a hover, just like a regular old GPS drone.
Right. And that is exciting, because if you're fast enough on the draw, you're going to be able to save yourself a lot of grief.
Yeah, because some of these
that and the return to home, having a smart return to home on there is going to be really, really nice.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm curious about that, because there are some drones now that have GPS in them, the FPV stuff. Like, I think things fly. I could be wrong. John can correct me if the Flywoo Explorer has GPS in it, or a version 2 of the Explorer might. Does yours have GPS? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
Some
I
of
set
them
up and programmed it so that if it goes off or I lose control, it'll come back, or I can push a switch and it'll come back. But it won't land. Like, it'll come down, and then within a certain distance, it'll just start descending until it hits the ground, unless I take over.
Yeah. But I mean, if it gets it within 20 feet of you, that's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Sam Burns says the Flywoo Explorer does have return to home. So that's not a brand new thing with FPV. Obviously, it's going to be sort of like how Apple comes out with something that's not actually brand new, but everyone goes, "Oh, it's brand new because Apple did it." So maybe they do it better. That's what I'm curious about. How much better will it actually be versus the stuff that's on the current FPV style drones out there? That's something I won't be able to test because I don't have an FPV drone. But if you have an FPV drone, that would be a cool video. I'd love to see, Jake, is just a side-by-side. Hey, we're gonna launch it off, fly out about 500,000 feet away, whatever. Turn on the GPS return home. Here's the landing pad. How close does it get to it?
Yep.
Do it with both drones. Easy video to make. Those videos get lots of views, Jake. I guarantee you. I used to do those videos with the original Mavic Pro and a couple other drones, and they always blew up.
I know. That's what I mean, because I've already been thinking about like the kind of video I'm going to make and stuff. And one of them was like, it was like the quintessential, like, how far will this go? Like, the distance test, which I did do one with the original Mavic Air. But I did have, like, I had spotters spaced out. We're flying out a frozen lake, so you can keep it on the line of sight and stuff. And I've had people ask about that since, like with the Mini 2 and with the Mavic 2 Pro. I'm like, why? You can fly these drones so much further than you can see now. It's just pointless to do a distance test to me. Like, there's no reason to. Like, now, you can fly this for miles.
I did a distance test with the Air 2, and I got 16,000 feet away.
Yeah.
Over spotters all over the place, of course.
Of course.
But, it's over a lake. There's nobody around. It's in the middle of nowhere. I mean, in the mountains, right? So, like, I don't think that rule exactly applies to me anymore in that area. But the point of the test wasn't necessarily to say, oh, look how far I can go. It's to say, oh, look how strong the signal is versus the original Mavic Air 1, right? Because it could only go, and believe it or not, normally the Mavic Air 1 could only go 1,000 or so feet, maybe a couple thousand, because it's a Wi-Fi drone, and their Wi-Fi is good. DJI's Wi-Fi is better than other brands' Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah.
How? But they do it in a better way. But it was to show how much stronger that signal really was. And then on the test, the damn DJI Wi-Fi drone went 5,000-6,000 feet, like the first time ever. And I was like thinking it would only go 1,000, 2,000, and there it is, 6,000 feet, strong signal still. I was like, what is happening? So yeah, I've been meaning to do that same test with the Mini 2 over the lake, just because I'm curious. I mean, I think I pretty much already know how strong the signal is and how well it does with those 2 flights I did over the mountain ridges.
Yeah.
I still can't believe that my Mini 2 didn't just get blown away in the wind. Like,
I have been shocked by the Mini 2 and how well it does handle wind. There's been a couple of times I've flown it and I'm like, this is a bad idea. I'm probably not going to, get the drone back, or I'm going to crash it, like force it down somewhere and then walk to go pick it up because it just won't come back to me. But it's always held its own, which is impressive as heck.
My problem is I usually run out and make a video with an hour or 2 hours before I have to be at work. So if I crash it, it's gone.
It's done.
No way I'm going to climb up to the top of that mountain in an hour,
Yeah.
It's gone. I do put a little thing in my memory card now that says, if found, return to. And sometimes.
Well, that's a good idea because I've had a couple people reach out to me when they've been hiking and, because I show up on YouTube videos and I'm in Alaska. I've had a few people go, hey, I found a Mavic Pro in this area. Is it yours? No. Is there by chance anything on the SD card that helps? There hasn't been so far, but I was like.
So I used to think I'd record a little video on the SD card saying, hey, you just found my Mavic Pro or whatever. Return it to here. And then I was like, wait, why don't I just make a README file that says README? And
right.
It's much easier. But yeah, Bob,
much easier.
Actual OcuSync 3 on the FPV. Now, what I understand is it doesn't necessarily go much further, if at all, than OcuSync 2. It's just stronger from what I was told. So trees and things that might be a little bit more interference will be less interference from what I understand, which could be huge.
Yep. Probably have a lot better penetration through obstacles because FPV people are going to want to fly it through obstacles around the backside of a building and all that kind of stuff, which has always historically been a hard thing.
Well, I'm trying to think if there's I'm going to probably wrap. We've been on 2 hours, Jake.
Man.
That went fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Maybe we should wrap this up. I need to probably wrap this up. I didn't realize it was been that long. Do you want to say anything else to the subscribers before you go about your channel and maybe some tips? They seem to really enjoy the tips and talking about the growing the channels. Maybe any tips about the analytics or anything else that might help somebody new to YouTube before we wrap it up and I let you go.
Oh, sure. The most important thing you can watch is your audience retention on each video. If you can get to where you can keep like 50% of your audience, 50% of the people who watch if you can keep people who watch your videos, if you can keep 50% of them through toward like the last 75%, the last 3/4 of the video, that's a huge indication to YouTube that people really like that video and it'll push it out. And you can watch, like if I post a video where my audience retention stays pretty high all the way to the end, I can watch my browse and suggested video percentage just start going up like this to where it gets to the top. And it's because that's one of the main key things that YouTube watches, the algorithm watches, to know whether or not that video is a good video to show to other people beyond just, your people who generally watch your stuff. And so that has been the major focus of mine for the last year and a half is constructing videos in a way that really help people want to stay engaged and watching the video toward the end, because that was a gigantic thing for as far as what YouTube watches and how it operates that way. So, and if you want to see more real world tests and exploring Alaska at the same time, then you can find me at Jake Sloan.
And on that note, before you go, Jake, I want to show you my latest video and its stats. And take a look at this, because this breaks the weird mold that everything we think we know about, right?
Yeah.
Go down, Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? So 43% point, that's not bad. That's not great. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Attention, right?
But if you look at your line, it stays really high through the first half.
Yes, it does. You see it's dropping right around here. That's
Yep.
where we start losing everybody.
So I never pay attention to that percentage viewed. I always look at the line because you don't get very much of a drop off right in the beginning, but then it stays flat all the way like almost to the last like 60-70% of the video, and then you start getting that drop off, which that's what you want.
This beginning here, I know to people who are newer to YouTube, that probably looks like a steep drop off, but believe it or not, to have it at 66% that far into
that's huge.
In your video is actually huge.
Yep.
Like usually that drop off is, if it's going to drop off, it's 30 seconds in, it's down to 40% already. And it might hold flat the whole way. But it's incredible how many people drop off within the first 5 to 10 seconds of a video.
Oh man. Yeah. It's
you guys can see here, I'm showing you my stats here. This video has earned $6.41. You can see it started out actually really good and then somehow plateaued. And I've come to the conclusion that that was because of my impressions and click-through rate, which is that's based off of your thumbnail. My original thumbnail had a picture of me behind the little starburst over here. And I think the people that are seeing it don't give two craps about seeing me. So I took it off and just put around the footage, the feet that I was flying. And you can see the dip was actually with the old picture. And then since I've changed it, it's slightly gone up again. So I might play around with that because you can go through and change your thumbnails and still see your video change again years later even. Something to keep in mind. Let's see, what else is this? Is impressions here, 9,000. Trying to think a couple other numbers in here that are worth showing. So here you can see browse features, 55%. That's good. Suggested videos is a little low, 5.2. Back in the day, like I'd say about 6 years ago, when I was just getting into this a little bit more seriously, my suggested videos was through the roof. Like browse and suggested would have been flip-flopped.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
And they changed something on the browse and suggested stuff.
Yeah, I find
it
all
flipped
a lot more than suggested now. It's like flip-flopped. Yep. I used to really push searched videos, and now I try to actually make a searched video only. I'll try to make it sort of like it's an entertainment video, but still searchable content, and try to kill two birds with one stone. Although I'm starting to try to think of titles that aren't actually searchable titles, that are just titles that go, huh, what's that? That way my subscribers go, huh, what's that? And click it first.
Yeah.
Because if I can get my subscribers to click it first, then everything else should fall into place.
Yep.
Engagement is another cool thing you can look at. I think this was, because I did an instant premiere for this one, so it's a little different. And the audience, probably all male, right? Yeah, 100%. Drone videos typically are all male. My GoPro videos will be more like 80% male, 20% female.
Interesting.
Which I find very interesting. And my snowboard videos will be more female than the drone videos. But when I do drone content, it's almost all like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed the same thing.
So the overall analytics, and you can see right there, boom, right there, that's my estimated monthly revenue. And what that is based on is not subscribers. It's based on watch time and views. So watch time is really what makes your estimated view count go up. And you can see it says $543 more than usual. That's because I've had that spike. I used to only make, up until just a couple months ago, I was making only $200 per views. So this amount being at this level is amazing to me. Mind-blowing. So that's why I don't mind buying something like the Mini 2 and destroying it if it makes people happy, you know? But what I was really looking for was audience. Yeah. So overall, this is pretty cool. A part of your analytics here where you can see when most of your subscribers are watching per day.
Yeah.
I think
that's really good. If you upload a video, you can see when you want to upload it just a little bit before and post it just a little bit before when it gets really dark, because that's when most of your views are going to come in. And that early momentum really helps.
Yeah,
Like
I try
if you
to get
can
mine
get,
up. Well, I don't get this early. Look at that. That's 6 a.m. before it starts. People are up much earlier than I am. I've been posting around 10 o'clock, and that seems like it's already in my peak hour. So I really should be making them live up here closer to 6 o'clock, it looks like.
yeah.
So that's something I should work on. But I like coming down here. This is interesting. So just for February, you see I got 9.5% female, 90% male. If you go the last year, that bumps up to 11% female and 88% male. And I find a lot of the drone channels are like 100% male.
Uh-huh.
Like, you don't find a lot of girls into drones, which is interesting. I've been trying to figure out what I'm doing to breach over to get like a wider audience. And I think that's really cool. I'm doing something, I can't figure it out. But somewhere, if you dive deep enough into your analytics, you can start to really figure all that kind of stuff out. So if you're starting on YouTube, don't stress the analytics too much. That's my advice to you. Just have fun. Make videos because it's fun and you enjoy it. And as it builds and you get to that point, then start studying your analytics, because that is when you'll really be able to analyze what's happening, and then you can correct it and go from there.
Yep.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you coming out, Jake, man. And it's always fun. This is, I think, I just now started really doing the live stream stuff. I know you've done it for a while. I'm happy to join you. The problem is you always do your show when I'm at work. So I very rarely make it into your chat. I try, but it's hard when you got bloody gloves on and you're tattooing somebody to stop and get on a computer.
Right.
So that's also why I miss Ken Heron's show most of the time too.
Yeah. I'm almost always driving home when Ken Heron's on. So I'm listening in most of the time, but that's all I can do half the time. Most of the time it's just.
Oh, that's funny. Ed says drones are a chick repellent.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Jake.
Thanks for having me.
Come back some other time. If you, maybe we'll do it without the interview and we'll just hang out and talk, because I'm finding it's hard to stay on the interview without getting sidetracked, just talking. Everybody I with, I'm having the hardest time sticking to the interview through the whole interview.
Right.
It's a learning process.
For sure.
Cool. Well, I'll let you get to your night, man. I'm gonna wrap this up with the guys here and end this out myself. I might give away one more sticker, so if you guys are still here, hang out. And Jake, I appreciate it. I'll let you get on your way and have a great night, man. And we'll talk and compare notes on this new DJI FPV drone.
Sounds good, Sean. Thanks for having me, and everybody have a good night. We'll see you later.
If you guys aren't subscribed to Jake already, go over to his channel and hit that subscribe button. Remember to click the bell notification too, so you don't miss his next videos.
That's right.
Look at this. They're already throwing out numbers, man. All right, Jake, have a good night, man. Thank you so much.
All right, see you, Sean.
All right, guys. I haven't even chosen that. Okay, I'm not gonna. First, I was going to ask, since we're only doing one more, I have 2 stickers out. Maybe stop with the numbers for a second, guys. And would you rather the Yeti or the little mini skull drone? Choose one of those first. And once we get a couple people choosing those, then actually, you know what? I got an idea. Put a number and which sticker you want, and the first person that gets the number with their sticker choice next to it wins one of those 2. And we got 25 people here still, so we'll do 1 to 25 just to make it fair. And I'm going to write down a number. Okay, number's done. Put down what you want. I'm going to start looking and see who gets it first. We got 33, 17, 6, 18, 18, 22, 21, 9, 24, 3, 11. All right, nobody's gotten it yet. 7, 8. You got to wait. Stop. We got it. Number 16. It looks like Sam Burns won, and he wanted the quad sticker. So I'm going to put that over here. And do you need me to post my email address there, Sam? Let me know, and I will. Sam Burns. And should we give away the Yeti? Does anybody want to win the Yeti? Does anybody want the Yeti? Because we can give away the Yeti too if anybody wants it. right? Should we? What do you think? Should we do it? Sam, let me put in my email address. Where can you buy the Yeti? We can do that. The Yeti comes in 2 different sizes. Let me just type in this and I'll send you a link to where you can buy the Yeti. Yeti comes in a little size and a bigger size. It's like a 3-pack and a single pack, I think. So the store is this link that I'm about to share in the chat right there. Boom. There is the Yeti. Sam, sorry, man. Like I don't go out and like look for everybody that wins. I throw my email in here. If you can't get to that email and shoot me your address, then I won't be able to send you out the sticker. And if you can't, just let me know and we'll put it back up for somebody else. That's absolutely fine. If I was to try to chase everybody down to make sure that they got their stickers, that would make this no fun for me to give them away. So hopefully you understand. Hopefully that makes sense to you and everybody else. So if you do win, you have to actually email me your address and then I write it on an envelope and then I mail it out. Okay, it looks like people do want to win the Yeti. The address, the email, the link, not the email, the link to buy them is in that World of Oz Etsy store right there. I'm trying to minimize the stickers lately because I am giving away so many that everybody's getting replicas. And I haven't. John, don't you dare email and pretend to be Sam. That would be so uncool. That would be so uncool. All right, let's take a poll real quick before we wrap this up. We'll just do those 2 stickers today, and we'll save a Yeti for the next live stream, which hopefully will be Billy Kyle. We're still talking out the details, but I'm hoping to have Billy Kyle join us so that we can interview him about his channel, how he got started, and where he's hoping to go with it. That is a great person if you're not following, if you're really into specs on drones and things like that. He covers them really, really well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Anybody on here 100% not going to get the DJI FPV drone? Let me know. Anybody 100% going to get it tomorrow? I think Matt said he was 100% going to get it. I don't know if he's still in here or not, but the Yeti scare off all the aliens? Doc, I don't even know what you're talking about, but that sounds interesting. Sam, I posted the email. The email is in the chat a couple of times. A couple other people have shared it too. Joe just shared it as well. Hey, Tom, I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. I keep meaning to make like some really beginner tutorials with some of these. And I've actually filmed parts of it, but I literally have probably 40 videos filmed, and I'm having a hard time getting them all edited. So it's going to happen sooner or later. And there's Jake in the chat, and I appreciate you joining me, Jake. I really enjoyed the conversation. I love seeing how other people have built their channels up to where they are and where they hope to go with it. And hopefully that's something that people start becoming more and more interested in watching as I have other guests on here. Because my goal is to have other guests that aren't just drone channels or just action camera channels, all kinds of channels of completely different kind of content onto this show. And I'd like the weekly show to eventually just be a weekly show interviewing people about YouTube. So that's the goal with this weekly show. And of course, still, John, 99.9% not getting it tomorrow. It would have to really surprise him. That's funny. Yeah, John, you already got so many FPV things that it doesn't really make sense for you guys to spend the money on it. Like, if I had a ton of 5-inch quads that could carry a GoPro, I don't know if I would spend the money on it either, to be honest with you. But I don't have any. I've been wanting the DJI goggles. I've been wanting a DJI controller. And I've been wanting that digital system. So for me, it makes a little more sense because I'd be spending about $800 on that stuff anyways. And then I can throw in another drone that's digital already and fly it. And then if they make it so that controller, that's what I've heard, is the controller is the iffy part on that version 2 controller to work with the version 2 modular. If those don't work with version 1, then that means I'd have to wait until version 2 starts coming out in other products to be able to extend and get more FPV stuff that works with digital. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that you like the hat. I'm actually going to be having those made. Dude, I'm actually getting these made. This is the first shirt on the store that I have had made that I'm carrying in stock at the tattoo studio. Oh, come on. It's not going to show. Hold on a second. That I'm carrying in stock at the tattoo studio that I probably will put up and have to ship from here. Everything except for the stickers is actually being made by one of those stores that they print them on demand. But yeah, this is getting made 100% sent to me. I'm getting like, I think 6 dozen of them or something. They'll be sitting at the shop here at the house for the tattoo studio, of course. I decided to finally embrace the mountain thing. So, you know, it's got the elevation on there, that kind of stuff. That's the new shirts for the shop. Super simple, something that tourists can buy. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked with it. It's a super simple design, and I think people will like that. And then, of course, I'll do more complicated stuff later. All right, Sam, I will check for that. I appreciate everybody coming. It is 10:21. I am on season 8 of Game of Thrones. We just got season 1, episode 1 finished. We have a few more episodes to watch, and I'm done with Game of Thrones. That show has pissed me off on so many occasions because every time you start to like a character, they kill them. So if you haven't seen that, just be prepared. That's what they do. They kill everybody. And there's a lot of wangs, a lot of boobies all over the show. It's basically a softcore porn that they make for you to watch with some battling and blood and drama mixed in. That is Game of Thrones. I appreciate you that, Steve. I'm glad you liked the shirt. I'm going to wrap this up. We got 22 people. You guys have a great night. I'm debating whether I'm going to go live in the morning when they announce this thing or not. So possibly. We'll see. Otherwise, I'm just going to be busy ordering it for myself as long as it can fly in this altitude. If it can't, there's no reason for me to buy one. With that being said, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out at the show. I appreciate my guest, Jake Sloan, tonight. If you haven't already subscribed to his channel, please go over to Jake Sloan or type Jake Sloan in the YouTube search bar and go subscribe to his channel. He makes amazing content. It's a beautiful, beautiful place where he lives. It's probably more beautiful where he lives than where I live. So go check out his channel if you haven't already. And you guys, I'm sorry, I just read. Oh, John, sorry, your comment just completely caught me off guard. If tomorrow is the RoboMaster 2 version 2 instead of the DJI drone, or what if it's just the Osmo Action 2, right? That would be sort of fucked up. All right, guys, you guys have a good night. We'll see.